Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening in at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, we are continuing on. This is our annual gaming marathon day, and today we are playing the Traveller role-playing game, second edition, published by Mongoose Publishing. We spent the first part of our gaming marathon creating characters for these for the session. So if you want to see the actual character generation process, please encourage you to go back and take a look at the last video that we posted. Right now, we're going to introduce you to our travelers, and then we are going to leap into an adventure. So, but first, Brett, you had a question just before we went live?
I was going to sort of just more to James about how our role is, since I no longer look like your brother. Does the group know we're brothers?
That's why I asked when you're off.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, guys, what I'm going to get you to do is go around the table. We'll have you introduce who you are and who you're playing. Oh, and who's playing your character in the movie or TV version of our campaign.
Hello, I am Jaden. I am playing Jim Komatsu. He is a Donald Glover-esque character from Martian. Super scientist extraordinaire.
Nice. Dave.
I'm Dave. I will be playing Shuji Suzuki. He's 34 years old from the planet Calder. I guess playing him in the TV movie version will be Ken Watanabe.
Okay.
I will be playing Senior Scout Gerald Hawkins. He is 42 years old and looks remarkably like David Bowie.
Okay. And who are you?
Who are you?
No.
He's asking you.
Who are you?
But the player. Sorry, I am Brent. Sorry. I'm like, I just did my character.
It's
I
an
don't
existential
understand.
crisis.
What's going
Who am
on?
I?
I'm still
What's
Gerald.
going on?
Do I have to play again? No, me.
Next up, James.
I'm James. I'm playing Gerald's brother, Harold Hawkins, a 42-year-old psychic medic.
Next up.
Yeah, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Will Bluth, played by Will Arnett, obviously, for those in the know. And he is a wonderfully famous magician.
Yes. Last but not least, Cork.
I'm Corey. I'm playing Freddie Roberts, the Dread Pirate and performer, most likely played by a Willa Holland type actress.
Nice. Did you say that she's the Fred Pirate Roberts?
Freddie, the Dread Pirate. Well, the Dread Pirate Roberts, Freddie Dread, Freddie Roberts, and Willifred Roberts.
Yeah, no, I thought you said that she was the Fred Pirate Roberts.
That could be two. That could be two.
Okay.
There's a million stage names, so.
Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, is we're just going to learn the game on the go. We've talked a little bit offline about how task resolution works for this. What you'll need is at most 3d6 for task resolution. Most often, you're just going to roll 2d6. But let's set the scene first. Let's set the stage. So our scene opens on this old man, or this man who is in a small room with crude construction. It appears to be a very primitive or medieval room, perhaps even a cell. And this is confirmed when we see the man get up from the bed he's lying in. He's dressed in a very simple robe, and he has dark hair. He has silver streaks that are running through it. He has a beard. He raises from the bed, goes over to a small, crudely made desk where he collects a set of rosaries with a big cross on it and a book. And he kneels down to morning prayer. We then see the man walk outside, or walk through the hallway, I should say. He passes a bunch of people in there who are dressed the same as him. And as each of them passes, they nod their heads towards him and say, "Good morning, Abbot." We then see the man leave this room. The shot is now outside. He walks outside into this courtyard. Gray overcast skies lie overhead. And in the courtyard, there are a number of monks who are dutifully at work on this giant slab of greasy gray stone or metal. And they are at work finishing up the delicate touches on a carving. And the carving is of this sinister, stylized dragon curled around and looking back down at this small, defiant figure of a knight on horseback. The knight has a shield in one hand and a spear in the other. We then see the abbot nod approvingly at this thing, and the monks go about getting some other work done. They load this thing up. It's the opening scene that we saw, that we opened the session with. We see the monks load this giant slab onto a ship, or onto a cart, which is then rolled out down with this procession with these giant white banners with a red cross painted on them. Everything is very crude and by modern standards and primitive. The monks are not particularly clean. There is a mix of men and women amongst them as well too. So technically, I think it's nuns in there as well. But they lead the procession down to the shores of this massive lake. The cart is loaded onto this raft, and a bunch of other boats accompanying it out onto the water, where we see the abbot perform a number of services. But then we don't actually hear the verses this time. We hear a voiceover. And what the voiceover says is, every 6 months, the monks of the monastery of Altanian Al-Sahira on Sync perform these mysterious rites, invoking the ancient order and rule of the Order of St. George. Again and again, they intone the name of St. George's holy lance, Ascalon, in protecting where these mysterious travelers came from, what their purpose is on Sync, and the purpose behind the rituals is yet another one of, and then we see this series of words go across the screen that says, Secrets of the Reach. And we see this thing come afterwards, a sort of like tag that says, funding provided by the Furtherance. And these yellow letters fade away. And then we cut to the scene of this really bizarre looking man who's got this wild hair. He's a Caucasian man, and underneath we see the identification of this gentleman, and it is Professor Maris Inar, and he's played by a 1970s version of Tom Baker, the late 70s, early 80s Doctor Who. And he says, and underneath it says specialist in exobiology, and he says, it's most intriguing. The rites of the Order of Altanian Al-Sahira seem to be preserved from their origin on Terra from centuries before. It's unclear whether they reached the planet of Sync before the collapse of the Sindalan Empire, or whether it came afterwards, or indeed whether they coexisted. The records from the Long Night are quite mysterious and unclear. And the monks are most reluctant to share the history of their order. What is clear is that they have maintained the same rituals for centuries, leaving the version of the Holy Scripture on which they rely is almost entirely uncorrupted from the time when the ancient Soleimani practiced that Catholic religion on old Terra. And it cuts away again to now sort of it shows this massive sort of aerial view of the monastery and the giant lake stretching out, and the rugged but vibrant green rolling earth and landscape away in other directions. And the voiceover says, what mysteries might be learned? What secrets does the Order of Altanian Al-Sahira hold? None can know. None might be discovered. And then it sort of, starts rolling credits on this. And we see this thing kind of go down. And what we've been watching is a hologram display. And it's within this office. And in the office, we find our travelers sitting and meeting with a representative of the General Development Corporation. So this is kind of like, you picture a little bit more of like a high-tech kind of office where it's paperless things. There's not a lot of books or stuff kicking around, but there's a lot of very, stylized art and stuff like that, and cultural pieces that are all from the Trojan Reach. There's pieces of Dranaxi art in here. There's, some local coral carvings that come from Marduk. And I think that I don't know where we are precisely. It's not really important for the purpose of the scene. But we see everyone sort of collected in here, and they're sort of collected into different groups. We've got the Will Arnett-looking character who's got what's your character wearing right now? Incidentally,
he's wearing a protect suit, which is like a suit that has got a little bit of protection armor to it.
Yep.
But it is the flashiest version you've ever seen. It's got extra trim that he's had stitched in. It's got even some tassels and some. It's bedazzled.
Okay.
Does it have like a never-ending handkerchief that comes out of the sleeve?
You might find that out later.
So Will Bluth is standing next to Freddy. What's Freddy wearing?
He's dressed as a magician's assistant.
Nice. Okay, so I think you guys are standing off in one corner. Sitting in sort of in front of this desk are you two guys. What does Jim look like? What's he dressed as?
Some drab, kind of tattered tan khakis with gaudy teal blazer.
Okay.
And some very weathered old glasses with some masking tape holding them together.
Nice. Okay. And how about Shuji?
Shuji is wearing the sharpest suit that money can buy. It is perfectly fitted and tailored.
There's nothing worse than new money.
100%.
So you're sitting there, and then I think you two guys are probably standing off on the side as well. So we've got sort of three groupings of folks sitting on this office. What are you dressed as right now?
My character has it looks pretty casual. But he wears a light in general cloth armor, but it's underneath suit. So he's got regular pants and a shirt on top of it, and wears like almost like a sort of like a leather jacket, or I guess it wouldn't be, or just a normal like jacket on top of it, short jacket.
Okay. And then what is Harold looking like?
Harold also is wearing a protect suit, but where his is the most flamboyant, Harold's is the most downplayed. It's all like gray tones,
Sure.
loose tie, and just gray suit.
Okay. So, and sitting at the center point, I guess, of this room, too, there's a big desk, and there is a carved nameplate on it that says the name Bennett Wood. And it's Bennett Wood, Vice President of New Developments. And we see on the side of this building, there's a big Judico symbol, which is the corporate symbol for the General Development Corporation, which is a important power player in the Trojan Reach. And I don't know if I've actually got a picture of the Judico symbol.
Sorry, which company is
General Development Corporation, or GDICO. Everyone calls it GDICO. GDICO is the most important and powerful corporation within the Trojan Reach, which is in this entire sector. So, sitting before you is Bennett Wood. Bennett Wood is played by a 1980s Paul Reiser. If you think of Aliens, Paul Reiser, that's who this guy is. And he's sitting wearing that same kind of like, grayish suit as well. And he says, all right then, so we've got everyone together. That's we've managed to arrange the travel. The purpose of this meeting then is just to make sure that we've got everything. We've gone through your list of requisitions for the developments, and of course, Shuji, we greatly appreciate the input that you've provided, but unfortunately, the bean counters they just don't agree with the necessity of the orbital cannon or the sentry robot or the assassin robot or the space armor.
If you don't want to protect your asset, that's entirely up to you, Mr. Bennett.
Well, and this is where I would suggest that the Hawkins brothers will be such an asset for this expedition. Both these gentlemen are well known to the Judico company and are quite capable of ensuring that everything is safe and above board.
Because they come with an orbital cannon?
We won't be requiring an orbital cannon. We'll keep you safe. Don't worry, buddy.
And of course, so we greatly appreciate a performer of your stature, Mr. Bluth, joining in this expedition as well.
Yes, I'm very excited to add the Bluth name to this project.
I'm certain that I speak for Mr. Suzuki when I say that he's quite gracious, gratitude, happy. He's quite pleased that you are on this expedition with him as well too, and of course your lovely assistant, Miss Roberts.
Yeah.
I wonder though whether perhaps you might want to defer to the expertise of the Hawkins boys, or perhaps Mr. Komatsu as to appropriate attire for the purpose of this expedition. As I mentioned, we do have very spotty information from the historical record as to the status of the starport which you've inherited. I'm not certain whether we'll be expecting the booking of any parties anytime in the near future. But I am led to believe that with some adequate work that you'll have it up and running in no time.
Oh, I'm sure these boys will get all the work done we need.
It's kind of a pregnant pause that says that he says, okay, then is there any other matters that we need to address, or is the, out of character, what's the name of the ship, guys?
Mr. Owner.
The Kobayashi Maru.
That bodes well. I did mention that the Aslan are kind of like Klingon, so maybe we will be learning the space combat rules today. Okay, so is it actually called the Kobayashi Maru? Or you
Yes.
Yeah, sure. All right. All right, so Kobayashi Maru. So I understand that the Maru has been fueled and is stocked. One other thing I want to mention, this is out of character again. So there is another planet that is near where Sync is, and it's a planet called Fantasy. And the reason that it's called Fantasy is because several centuries ago, there was, and I'll just show you here at Cork and the folks at home, and then I'll show the guys. So here's where Sync is, Cork. We're going to get closer. Here we go. All right, so can you see that, Cork, where Sync is?
Yeah.
That's where Sync is. Fantasy is right there.
Okay. Oh, these are actual things on the map.
Yeah. So these are only 2 parsecs away, guys. Here we go. This is where Sync is. Right. Oops. No, where is it? That's Sync is right there. Fantasy is right there. The reason it's called Fantasy is because there is. I mentioned what the Aslan are, right? And their major government is the Aslan Hierate. Well, there is an offshoot of them, which calls itself the Glorious Empire. The Glorious Empire is basically like bastard kids of Aslan. Aslan has the Aslan Hierate has a very primogeniture kind of like eldest son inherits everything kind of thing, which means that any younger sons are what's called ihate. And ihate don't inherit anything. They got to go out and find and collect their own shit. What the Glorious Empire is basically a collection of ihate who have no compunctions against slavery. So they run slaving parties out. It's one of the reasons why the Trojan Reach is dangerous, is because you've got these Aslan raiding parties going around trying to enslave people. One of these slaving vessels once crashed on Fantasy several centuries ago, and the cargo on it was a bunch of genetically engineered humans who were genetically engineered for 3 specific things. One was beauty. So it's an entire planet. Yes, please. Thank you. An entire planet of beautiful, well-built people. 2 is
The
for
Norwegian.
physical fitness. Yeah, basically it's like Denmark, you know, a little less racist. They're built for size. So you can picture like, though I was trying to think of who the appropriate sort of like mental picture is, and Brad Pitt in Troy.
But are these lion dudes or?
No, these are
no, no,
humans.
these are
Oh, okay.
The Glorious Empire are their Oslans who run it, but the slaves are the ones who crash. They were genetically engineered human slaves
Okay,
for
gotcha.
beauty, for actually it's 4 things: for strength, for numbers. Men grossly disproportionately represent over women, or sort of more women than men. I think. Is that right? Yeah, it's more women than men. And compliance.
They're fuckbots.
They're basically fuckbots. The name of the planet comes from the Scout Service ship that first arrived there. However, what GDCO has worked out is there's a local leader who recognized that the ship they crashed on still had the genetic information, but it is beyond their capacity to try and figure out how to fix this with future generations. So what they've got to deal with is that GDCO will try and fix this genetic of the compliance aspect of their alterations in exchange for labor. So you guys have 20 men and 2 women who are being sent with you guys to serve as general laborers. So you have a workforce to go along with you.
I have one question, and I guess this would be in character question
Sure.
from Gerald. So the space station hasn't been used in 2,500 years. Does that mean?
Not a space station, it's a low port.
Okay, the port has it?
It has been used for 2,600 years.
Okay, 2,600 years.
You see shock on Will's face.
Yeah.
Are the local inhabitants still in contact with the greater galaxy, or are they fairly isolated?
The extent of the inhabitants of Sync at this point are the monks of Altanian and Alsahira.
Well, do these
And do
monks
the monks
enjoy
are-
magic?
Of a kind?
Okay,
I'll
well,
just sort of give
we
him a
got a
weird
built-in audience.
Are the monks aware? Are they connected to the modern galaxy? Or the,
From what we understand, the monks do have training, but it's with tramp steamers that make their way through. It's for
okay.
free traders who will arrive and exchange for. They're largely self-sufficient from what we understand, and as you can see from that clip, they've been there for a very, very long time. The extent of the trading is a mystery to us. We don't know, but we're hoping that we can capture some of that, and that might be some of the early benefits of setting up a spaceport, is to encourage further development. We don't see the proposed colony on Sync as necessarily servicing the existing clientele so much as providing a vacation and transition spot for other travelers. We've discussed this, Shuji.
Can I ask a player question?
Of course.
Is Sync a spaceport?
Sync does not have, apart from the derelict one that you guys have, that Shuji inherited and that GDCO is going to pay for you guys to go develop.
That's on the planet. That's on Sync.
That's on Sync, yeah. Apart from that, there's no other spaceport. Like the free traders that trade with the monks on Sync, they just go and like land in a field or land in a rough patch, you know.
And sorry, how many sectors or areas was the Fantasy away from Sync?
It is 2 parsecs away. So you guys would have jumped over into Fantasy, picked up the crew that you guys are going to be the laborers, and then jumped back to like refueled and then jump back.
Wait, we have some of these genetic humans as
Yeah.
crew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
20.
Because they're gonna, it's 20 men and 2 women are going to serve as your laborers.
So 22.
Like I said, strength and compliance, they're great fucking workhorses. And they look pretty too.
Too bad the genders weren't reversed.
Nothing in the game tells you your guy has to be straight. Like
Nothing in the game implies that your character is straight.
you can play like, I think to some eyes that's a pretty fucking sweet situation to be in. So okay, so again, getting back to our meeting with Bennett, any other matters we need to deal with, or are we ready to as it were set sail?
Is there any other known variables on this? Any hostile life forms?
There are
Animals?
on the well, we see it as an asset. There is a native life form that we understand is known locally as the Strock. Strock, and he sort of hits this, hits something on his comm unit, and sort of like batters away, and then yeah, here we are, and he kind of gestures in that same viewer, the hollow viewer, where you were watching that episode of The Secrets of the Reach. This thing goes up, and none of you guys grew up on Earth, so you don't necessarily, you don't necessarily have a frame of reference or the same frame of reference, but kind of if you pictured like a cross between the bulk of the body of like a bear and the face and sort of leanness of a panther, but with a thick kind of like purple mottled feathering on it, with a white face. That's a Strock. We expect that, given the popularity of native hunts, both amongst the nobility of the Third Imperium and the males of the Aslan Hierate, these may be a popular choice for hunting expeditions set forth from the starport. Any other questions? No?
What is the deadline to have the port finished?
No deadline. We understand that the Imperium wasn't built in a day, but the sooner that you see the starport completed, the sooner that you start seeing some profits from the benefits of your inheritance.
So are you cutting corners on this project?
No, not at all. No, we would, Ms. Roberts, we're ensuring that all the necessary supplies and funding. This is, in fact, why GDCO has been so careful to fill the hold of the Maru with everything that we feel you would need to successfully rehabilitate the existing starport and make it a viable destination for new travelers and recreational holiday vacationers.
We're gonna have to get 5-star cuisine going on here, guys.
So I nearly forgot, Mr. Suzuki. You've had some time to think about it now. We're about to set off on this voyage. Tell me, have you given a name to your starport?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't had the chance to see it. My feeling was that it would come to me when I first laid eyes upon it.
Very artistic of you. Very artistic. Well, then, gentlemen and lady, if there's nothing further, I suppose I wish you good luck on your venture. And he clicks his or snaps his fingers, and the door opens, and this woman walks in, with this tray of champagne flutes full of some kind of bubbling liquid. She passes it around to everyone. And he says, I understand that an adventure of this nature, it is, of course, important to start off with the best of fortune.
When I use my psionics, do you know when I'm using it, or is it?
I don't think so. No.
So can I do like a read surface thoughts on him?
Sure. Let's take a look at the rules here.
And in the interim, Will's come over to Suji, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd recommend a name that's going to look good with featuring Will Bluth on the marquee."
Okay. So yeah,
keep that in
you're going to be
mind,
rolling.
Mr.
It's an
Bluth.
average telepathy check. So roll 2d6. So it's an 8 or higher is what you need.
Okay.
You're going to roll and add your psi modifier, and you're going to add your telepathy skill.
Okay, so that's 6.
That's the total is 6.
That's total 6.
Okay, so you need to roll 2 or high. Basically, if you roll a 2, you fail.
7.
Okay. So let's see here. Only active current thoughts. So I think that what he's thinking, he's genuinely excited to see this thing go.
It's not like suckers.
No.
Okay.
He's.
He obviously hasn't seen it yet.
I'm trying to think what else might be on his mind. You think he's fucking his assistant for one, because as soon as she walks by, he immediately starts picture like it's a clear mental picture of her naked, and
You might have thoughts that were.
You just download that immediately into the Spank Bank.
psychic.
You go into. Is there an actual bank in his head?
Okay, so I think that what I think that's it for right now. That's immediately what he's thinking is that. So yeah, he thinks and you know, you guys quaff your drinks, and then we cut to the scene of the what do you call it? The what's the word I'm looking for here? The bridge of the Maru. So let's all take a look at our core rule book, page 184. That's what the Kobayashi Maru looks like, guys.
Nice.
And for those listening at home, it is a Type R subsidized merchant, which is looking a lot like that.
Which is probably going to be blowing out of the sky.
So as this thing is, and basically we're cutting in, who is the pilot, who is the co-pilot, where you've gone through hyperspace, so you've arrived at this destination. Who is in what locations right now, guys? We're entering the atmospheres. You know, I should have buckled in.
I'm good enough to be a co-pilot. I'm better at mechanics, so if there's someone who's better co-pilot than me.
What's your mechanics score?
3.
Ooh. Anybody else have a mechanics of 3 or better? So you might want to be in the engine room then.
Yeah, and I've got pilot, spacecraft, and fly grav at 1 each.
I'll be in.
So you're the best at engineering, Brent. So maybe you're going to be there. What's
Okay.
your mechanics here, bud?
0.
0. Okay, you got electronics though, right?
Yes.
You can be manning the sensors in.
Sure.
Okay.
I got 1 in comms.
1 in comms. Okay.
Shuji is quite a proficient pilot.
Okay. Quite a proficient pilot. What are you guys doing, and what does Fred do?
I'll be monitoring the guns.
Freddie. Okay, that's going to be a very easy task because there are none.
Will
Okay.
is busy working to conscript the 2 female whatever they're called, not
Shouldn't be
slaves,
too
but
hard.
come here. It's like he's like trying to conscript them to be on his team, like working on the entertainment area, and like he's describing the
0.
stage that they're gonna.
So here,
assemble.
what'll do? I'm going to imagine this has happened over a long time, so I'm going to
Yeah.
give you a +2 to the time spent on it. So give me a carouse. Hold on. Is he trying to just persuade them to actually help, or is this his way of like sort of sleep with them?
Yeah,
Carousing, he's
both.
trying to sleep with
both.
them.
Yeah,
Persuading, he's just trying to get him to do what he wants him to do.
like he's definitely wants them to sleep with him, but he's trying to he does want them working on his projects at the start.
So let's say,
Can you assist in a skill check?
yeah, absolutely.
Because I have a carouse of 3 as well.
Okay, so yeah, like, are you carousing the women as well, or are you carousing
Yeah, helping him to achieve his goals.
his gold? Okay.
So we're going to break this down into 2 groups of players, those who do the work and those who like fuck around and pick up chicks.
yeah, basically.
I'm not sure how much you remember about our Star Wars campaign, but that's kind of what we do here.
So basically, I'm flying a brothel. That's what we're
That's
doing.
First thing that came to my mind.
Make a lot more money that way.
Okay, so here's, guys, I'm going to introduce you to the idea of a task chain then. So what this is on page 60, this is one of the things that's unique about this. The way that you do sort of like assisting others in Traveler is someone makes a roll, and then the outcome of that roll will dictate what dice modifier the next person gets. So, Cor, why don't you describe for us, what is it that you've been doing to sort of like help speed, grease the wheels, as it were, for old Will?
Just being very persuasive and yeah, just like, I don't know, just assisting in the flirtation.
Like,
And what's that?
you're like talking him up or something like that, or what?
No, yeah, I'm just like if you approach people by yourself or if you have a wingman.
Okay. So let's let's have you make a carouse check for me, please. Roll 2d6, add your carouse, and I'll have you add your intellect. I think you're trying to.
Holy fuck!
What'd you roll?
1.
Hey, what's your carouse? A 3?
3.
And so it's a 13 then. No, 15. Do you have any modifier for your intellect?
Intellect, I have an intellect of 8, so I don't think so.
Modifier. Okay. So 13, looking at the task modifier, you that was an 8 difficulty. You succeeded with 6 or more, which means you get +2
Nice.
to your persuade check. So go ahead and make your persuade check. Same thing, difficulty 8. Actually, no, because these guys are easily bamboozled. I think that I'm going to give you. I'm trying to decide if I'll give you a boon. I'm going to give you a boon. So roll 3d6. Take the 2 highest in your as your result.
Okay. Oh, nice. So my total is 9 plus 2 from.
Yeah. Okay. So these two.
It's 11 plus if there was any.
Yeah.
other.
These two women are absolutely. They're
Nice.
working with you now.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are dealing with that. What are you doing?
Harold is hanging down in the engine room with Gerald, basically pestering him as he's trying to go about working.
You know, I was.
Does anyone have?
No, actually,
anyone
I-
have training in pilot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, you do. I'm asking anyone else. You do. You do.
No,
You got, okay.
I'm the
He does. Yeah.
So maybe you're acting as both co-pilot and operating the sensors. I don't. What is it? Does a ship have more than one station?
There shouldn't be like a routine.
Is that something you can do? Oh,
No,
it does have
there's-
separate station. Got 4
What I'd like to
stations.
do with you though,
Yeah.
because everyone's also
Hmm.
the work ethic
Pilot,
is another-
astrogator,
their,
engineer, medic, and steward. Steward's not necessarily. Steward's what you need. Is someone to take care of the
plans
guests
for the
Okay.
space
on the
station.
thing.
Well, Will would be acting
Yeah,
as the
but
steward.
also
As,
Yeah.
like, as far as like
Sure.
he's actually making drinks
Spend
for
a
the
few hours,
slaves.
like,
Yeah.
going over the plans, figuring out where things are. And how
Okay.
to do things.
So
He's just shaking his
what we're
head.
gonna do is, yeah, I'm figuring there's not a lot of. I'm not gonna do a lot of mechanics. It's a routine voyage, so we're gonna go over the plans.
just you know how when you're landing an aircraft, there's just things that always you always put your seatbelts on. You always do
Yeah.
whatever. That stuff is done for safety precautions, right?
Right.
It's done because even though it may not happen, anyone who's a responsible pilot will know they need to go through these steps because in the event of anything wrong happening.
Right.
Right, but there should be like
Like
interim like downtime, and then figuring in the middle, like we take off, we do our checks, we fly, we got some downtime.
When you got 3, remember you got a week. Every time you're jumping, you got a week. If there's stuff that you want to happen in the week of travel in hyperspace,
Oh yeah,
then that's fine. You guys can.
what the 2 of us would like to go through like the plans for the space or the space.
space agent.
Well, the thing is, you don't. What do you mean? Like you're going through the plans?
Do we have any like blueprints for it, or know what kind of technology?
You got a rough description of what's there, but because it's been the place has been lost for so long, there's a scan that's an incomplete scan that tells you that there are 4 landing ports. So there's landings there, or there were at one point 4 ports for spacecraft to land there. There was a fence around the entire place. There's one hangar for storing vessels and supplies and stuff like that. And there is one supply shed kind of thing, and there's one like basically quarters.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is, based on what information we have, trying to figure out what kind of technology was used and the best way to
you
repair.
absolutely do not have enough to. Yeah, I think you can make best guesses, but this is sort of like remember that the Sindel Empire collapsed in fire and fury. So. And that's 2,600 years old during the long night.
So there's no real way to prep for what we're gonna.
No, that's part of the reason why you guys are you need. It was important to have those skills because you're not quite sure what you're going to be, what kind of problems you're going to have.
Well, maybe we'll chat about the Sindel Empire and.
What I'll let you do, Brent, is that if there's some situation where it comes up where it would be reasonable that you guys may have talked about that and set up contingencies, we'll just apply it accordingly.
Oh yeah.
We don't need to go through and talk about all the different things. But unfortunately, because of the nature of the the Trojan Reaches are the sector I mentioned that's coreward of here, like just above this sector, is the Spinnerwood Marches. Spinnerwood Marches is the Wild West. It's the last gasp of the Third Imperium. The Trojan Reaches are full-on barbarian country. There's pirates, there's heavily armed transports that go throughout it, but and a ton of forgotten relics of these ancient empires.
Okay.
So, all right. So you guys have prepped that. As we're coming down into the atmosphere, you're in the engine room. What are you doing there, Harry?
I'm just hanging out with him.
Okay, so you're just hanging out in the engine room. Okay.
How long has it been since we've been together? Like,
Do you have any training in comms whatsoever, or electronics?
2 weeks. I have remote comms.
Do you have electronics? Do you have a 0 in it?
No, the remote comms was a bonus from one of my.
Right. What's is that a sub? What's that?
It's
cascade?
remote ops is electronics.
Okay. Remember, guys. Again, if you've got a cascade skill, where there's sub skills beneath that, if you have anything in it, that means you got 0 in all the other cascade skills.
Right.
So you have a 0 in all the other
So I
electronics.
got in comms and
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So then you're going to be manning the comms if you've actually got training in pilot.
Yeah. Small craft.
Oh, but that will still give you a 0 in pilot. Though. And you got nothing in pilot?
No.
So you're pilot, you're co-pilot, you're operating the comms, you're the engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Can
you're
I do anything with recon?
Stewart.
what's that?
Can I do anything with recon?
Recon is really used for like scouting things or reconnoitering things.
I don't know,
or
but I actually do
spotting
have a
things.
0 in it.
So it's not really there's not much you necessarily can bring to the table in landing. So you guys, I think, are
just like blowing in the wind, all the tassels.
let's see here.
Madam,
I think you guys are in the common area right now.
Just shit.
Okay.
You see where number 3 is, guys?
They just fall out as the door opens.
Okay.
That's where I think where Will and Freddie are right now, with maybe 1 or 2 of the fantasy inhabitants. The rest of you guys are all on the bridge or in the engine room. So Brent, you're down. It looks like maybe in the lower deck there.
Sounds good.
Okay. So as you guys are going in, you're rumbling down. The big green and blue ball of sync sits before you. There's thick and heavy cloud cover that you're passing through as you rumble down through, and then you all die. Great campaign, right?
Yeah.
No.
Should have made us roll for if the ship explodes or not.
Funny you mentioned that. Suddenly, the ship rocks to the side. None of you have any fucking clue what's happening. What are you guys going to do?
Is there an alarm that goes off?
You have lost complete control of the vessel. What the? Hey, all the lights in the engine are on right now.
Okay, as I'm rushing around to do shit, I'm yelling, "What the hell's going on?" through the comms.
Okay, so you raise so you raise the comms and hit it. All right, so here's what we can do, guys. Obvious actions here, and those of you who are in the common area are being tossed around.
Will is telling everyone, put your seatbelts on.
You can, let's see here, determine if the ship is under attack.
Put
Piracy
your
is not an
seatbelts on.
unknown thing in this region.
Yes,
You can determine, and that would be a sensor's sweep. So, guy on the sensor comms, determining if the ship is under attack might be a good option. Determine if the ship has been damaged, which would be you, Brent. Figure out what happened to the drive. Let's see here. Actually, that might be you there, Jaden. You can make a mechanic or engineering check to try and figure out what happened.
Okay.
Brent, you can figure out what happened to the drive because the drive is suddenly out. Dave, you could figure out if the ship is going to crash.
Oh shit! What page are you looking at?
I'm not looking at anywhere. I'm looking at something else.
Excuse me.
And then if there's any other actions you guys think you might want to try, let's try those ones first. So first off, determine if the ship's under attack. Would you kindly give me a electronics sensors check? This is going to take you 2 minutes to do.
Yeah, what am I rolling? I'm rolling. Okay.
2d6 plus your sensors plus education.
Whoa, nice.
Put your seatbelts on. Put your cigarettes out.
5.
5?
Yeah.
We're 2 minutes in, and you're hitting these things. You're like, what the hell? You can't tell if they've been hit by a missile or shot with something or something else has happened. You've got the sensors are wild. We're gonna have to come back to you,
Finish your drinks.
Jaden. You're gonna make a. Do you want to make a mechanic or engineering check?
Put any loose clothing back on.
Or do you want to do none of those? Are you trained in either of those?
Put any clothing back on.
Mechanics, yes, not engineering.
Okay, so mechanics, make a mechanics check with education or intellect, actually.
Skill and
So 2d6 plus your intellect modifier plus mechanics. It's gonna take you 5 minutes.
Whole bunch of zeros.
Yeah, okay, so, whoo boy,
So I just gotta beat 6.
just gotta beat 6. Yeah.
Oh, you fucker!
You can't. You're both kind of yelling out, "What's happening? What's happening?"
I know what I'm doing next.
Okay, and then Dave. Let's figure out if the ship's gonna crash. I need you to make a
God!
piloting spacecraft check, please.
Okay, so I've got a 2 in that. So would I?
You add +2,
Okay.
and it's your intellect as well too. If you got an intellect modifier.
Yeah, no.
No. Okay, so add 2 to your roll.
And what do I need to clear it?
2d6.
Oh,
You need.
2d6.
Actually, this is an easy one. It's 4 or higher.
Ta-da!
Hey!
Yeah.
13.
Okay, so you can tell that this thing is going to slam into the surface of sync.
But it doesn't have to, right? Because
Well,
pretty good
right
pilot.
now the drive is offline. That is the big fucking problem. The drive has completely gone down, and unless something is done,
But I can
I'm
Right.
totally spending a light side point on that one.
yeah, really. Can you make a recon check? Actually, both you and Cork, both you guys give me a recon check. Add your intellect, and
So because I'm a jack of all trades, I don't get -3, correct?
that's right. You just roll 0.
Nice.
Brent, would you kind of give me? Let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. Give me an engineering M drive check. Are you specialized in M drive?
No, I've got a 0 in that.
So make a intellect plus engineering M drive check for me, please. 6 or higher.
I got an 8.
An 8. Okay. There's smoke coming from somewhere.
I failed my recon check.
Okay, so you're sort of like distracted by all the screaming and whatnot in the common area. And
Yeah.
they're sort of agitated, and then Will can smell there's fire coming from somewhere. How'd you do?
11.
Nice. Oh, that's amazing. So you can tell that the maneuver drive's safety cutouts have been taken offline. No. Yeah, so the drive is completely out right now. Something's gone wrong, and there's something that's where it's not functioning the way it's supposed to go.
I yell that out to the comms in all its technical glory.
Yeah, but you think, you know what? The maneuver drive safety cutouts have been taken offline, but they can be easily reset. But the bigger problem is with the drive itself. Finding out what actually caused the cutout is going to be longer. But right now, the most important thing is getting the drive back online, because without it, this ship is completely out of control. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you
Get to
also
assist
recognize too. You sort of like you're scrambling around in the thing like, oh god, and then you out of the corner of your eye you see there's a readout, like a holographic readout on it, and you run over. There's fires that have burst out in a couple places on the ship as well.
Okay, I'll yell that through the comms.
Okay, so here's the thing: anybody who's trained on a starship, they know how to put out fires. This is one of the things your basic training. It's like putting on your safety jacket when you're getting into a boat with water safety. Anybody with training in astrogation, engineer, gunner, pilot, or steward can use that to fight the flames. Okay. Here's the things that are priorities, I think, right now, guys. Fighting the fire, getting the M drive back on, the maneuver drive, regaining control of the ship, and that's kind of it. So what do we think? What are we doing, guys?
Will is like
I'm gonna try and put out one of the fires.
Now, you still don't know what caused this. You still aren't clear whether or not this place is under attack or not. And you can't tell. I think you said you screamed over the comm that what's wrong with the ship, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we doing, guys?
I'm gonna try and go for one of the engines to put the fire out.
Okay. Cork, do you have training in astrogation, engineer, gunner, pilot, or steward?
Gunner.
Gunner. So you're going to use that. We'll get back to you. What
I'm doing tactical awareness.
tactical awareness? What is that?
Sonic ability. With this ability, the traveler can perceive the dangers and foes around him using his clairvoyant abilities. This enhanced spatial perception allows him to ignore the effects of darkness, smoke, fog, or other environmental effects that impede vision. He may also detect hidden foes within range. The effect of the check determines the number of combat rounds awareness lasts. It's got a reach of long, so it should encompass the ship. So I wanted to know if it's
So you want to know if anyone's like sabotaging the ship on board?
or attacked it or boarded it.
if long doesn't extend out past the ship,
Long
is how
is 51 meters to 250 meters.
250 meters is a quarter of a kilometer. I'm not even sure that would. I mean, it would go
It would-
past the ship.
Yeah, it'd be the whole ship, but that's
But unless
about
there's
it.
something like immediately close by, the ranges that you're dealing with air to air, like think of what air to air combat is like, even with modern aircraft. I'm not sure. But what it could do though, James, if you want to use that, that could tell you whether there's sabotage
Well,
or someone with.
okay, so I'll do that, and then after that, I'll do clairvoyance, which is a further one where it's very distant.
Sure. Okay. So you go ahead. You're gonna make that check. Brent, what are you doing?
Getting those maneuver drives back on.
Okay. Dave, what are you doing?
Shuji will do two things. He'll get on the comms and call out to Will. Will, if you want us to if you want to get us through this, you'll perhaps get your friends to help us put out these fires.
Yeah, we got the
Click.
maneuver.
Shuji will then go to.
Do you say click? Click.
Ah, damn it! It's never clicking a boot.
2 levels in passive aggression.
Over and up.
And then he will focus all his effort on stabilizing the ship.
Okay. It's really fucking effectively. It's gonna be impossible until that M drive gets back online. You're starting to, you know.
Is there anything? I mean, effectively, Shuji could also get up and go fight fires,
Mhm.
but I think perhaps having the ship in a tailspin and the pilot not at the helm might be slightly more concerning. So yeah,
I completely agree.
Yeah.
How about Jim?
I was gonna ask, do I need to be in the co-pilot seat? Am I glued here?
No, at this point, no. Like there's
Okay, I'm fucking off. I got a 1 in pilot.
fucking off
So-
back or parachute. Say it, suckers. What are you doing? Sorry. Fights and fires. Okay, sweet. Okay, so anybody who's fighting fires, would you kindly make one of those roles? Pick your highest of astrogation, engineer, gunner, pilot, or steward. Go ahead and make that roll for me, please. You're using endurance with that. Did you make your check?
I did make my check.
Okay. And how'd you do? You succeeded?
My
Yes,
endurance is
13,
minus
No,
1.
no danger. No
Totally
sanctioned
negated my bonus.
source of danger.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do any of our help? Do they have any of that training? That
So if he's going to do what?
I'm going to be directing them,
So
using my
leadership-
social skills instead of
Sure.
my.
Give me a leadership role with social standing as your modifier.
Cool.
And Brent, what do you?
I'm going to try and get those drives online.
Okay, so that's going to be a let's see here, engineering M drive check with intellect. Okay,
My
it'll
result's
take
a
you-
10 on the commands to the.
Wow. Okay, so you're going to like walk. What are you doing? Like walking up and
Yeah,
down?
you 3 with me. You 3 follow her. Okay, directing them. Like, you know,
Yeah.
if you're coming out, it's like 2 of you with
What
him.
was the target number?
8.
Got it on the dots.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So you're racing around. And the scene of this was you sort of going around, and we see, you hitting some levers and stuff like that, and turning some dials, and then like running your hands across the holographic controls again, and we hear a as they start coming back up again. So it's a fucking nail
I pat
biting
the engine
6
go. That a
minutes.
girl.
Nice. So you're this thing's going around. How did the firefighting check go?
What am I rolling?
You're
against?
rolling the best of either astrogation, engineering, gunner, pilot, or steward.
What's my number I'm against?
Against a 6.
6. Okay.
So I've got 8.
Hey, there we go.
Nice. Okay, so effective 2. That's awesome.
11.
11, that's 2, and then no one else was fighting fires this turn.
Well, we
You will
were
next round, okay.
Team were, yeah.
Well, no, you were getting them together to do that. Okay, great, guys. Well, you got 2 successes, which means that the fires are almost nearly out right now, the ones that are fighting. So you go down, and there's like, you know exactly where these supplies are. You go, as you're exiting the cockpit, you grab this fire extinguisher from the side. You go racing down towards where you saw the readout for the fire. You race in there and, put the whole thing out. Same thing with you, Freddie.
Yeah.
You got everyone organized. The fires are still raging right now, but then the flames, the engines kick back in. Want to try and get control over this fucking thing again?
Absolutely. 2 of them.
Yes, please.
What am I?
You're
against?
rolling. It's a pilot starship.
Yep.
With spacecraft.
Yep.
Excuse me. Ooh, with Dex against a 10. Oof.
6. I'd re-roll that.
That's a jack dice.
Oh, that was even
no.
worse. 7 plus 2, 9.
Oh, so close. So again, the way that effects work in this is like the fact that you only fail by 1 does matter for this. If you fail by like 5 or something like that, there'd be a much worse result. So you're sort of like, oh, come on, and it's starting to slow. It's sort of spiral as it's going down, but it's still wee. And I think because you failed, another something strained somewhere, and another fire bursts out. So next round, guys, what are we doing? You can you sort of like, oh, good girl, and you hear a there's another sensor that shows up that's triggered that there's a fire somewhere else right now. Okay, so this round, what I'm going to get you to do is your leadership check will be to put out the fires this time.
Nice.
Cork, are you still trying to help put out fires?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Clairvoyance.
clairvoyance. Okay. Give a clairvoyance check.
Holy shit.
Amazing.
Well, 12 is
Whoa.
and my
8 on the nose.
skill is plus 2, so that's a
What
14.
did you do, Cork?
8 on the nose.
8 on the nose. Nice. Okay. So I think the fires are out at this point. How'd you do?
Good roll.
Oh,
Will looks like he's choreographing a complex stage play, and is like all of our very disciplined people are working very hard to fight the fire.
I got a 7.
Okay, nice. So the fires are absolutely out. They're still falling down. Shuji, you try and get control of this thing again?
Yep.
Who is in that co-pilot seat? Is there no one?
No one right now. Jim went running away to put out fires.
All right. I'll yell for who the fuck's flying this thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
How'd you do?
got a 9 again.
We see this
You
again, heavily
fail as a pilot.
overcast sky, and then this giant ship goes flying through it. Wow.
Do you need help up there?
I think you're working the system a little too much. I'm not sure you would know.
What's going on?
Yeah, because
Okay.
like the grav stabilizers are still in place, so I think
For
you're.
all you know, no one's there.
Yeah. So you look around maybe, and you sort of have put your senses out. What?
I rolled exactly 8, so it's enough, but it doesn't. The effect of the check determines the number. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. The effect of the check determines the level of detail perceived. So I made it.
Yeah.
But I just made it. at
Okay.
8.
So if what does it do again? Does it allow you to perceive a specific point
The
or what?
specific ability allows actual viewing of a situation at some displaced point. The clairvoyant traveler must state the range at which he is applying his talent. The effect of the check determines the level of detail perceived.
So where were you thinking? Like just directly above the ship or something like that?
Yeah, like outside the ship, is there another ship like nearby?
Well, again, that's not what it says. It doesn't detect ships. It says you pick a point and you see from there,
Oh.
Right.
right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, do you want to
Yeah,
pick, like,
okay.
directly-
Go off the
Sure.
nose of the ship.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
So you pick a point
Which
directly
is
above the
spinning.
ship, and yeah,
Well, I know what
it's
I
just
mean.
you're seeing it. It's and there's cloud above.
Then you see the whole
There's
area.
nothing else you see in the air though.
Okay.
Yeah, no other vessels. But again, like you just fell through the cloud layer, so who the fuck knows what's up there? But fires are out.
Can I try and stabilize the spinning of the ships by using the engines to?
Yeah, like
Pressure
overload one
digest
side.
of-
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead. Give me a engineering M drive check with intellect. Again, I'm going to give that it'll be an 8. Standard.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, so Dave, you're going to need a +1 dice modifier.
Sweet.
As you're struggling to get control of this thing.
That's the number we need.
Anyone else want to try and do anything to help the pilot?
Can I do anything?
You could maybe run back. As soon as you put the fire out, you could have said you were running back.
Yeah.
So you could we see you hop in the seat and try and help him out. And in which case Shuji sort of looks at him like, "What the fuck were you?" So give me, Jaden, give me a piloting check.
I turn over and go.
Give me a piloting dexterity check at 8, please. You can give another dice modifier.
That's against capital ship or spacecraft.
Spacecraft, please.
Fuck. 3. Shit. The ship
3.
just wants to die.
So I think what's happening is that maybe you're trying to pull off against it and help and control, but you're not realizing that that Gerald is like trying to give counterforce. She's like, why the fuck is this thing not responding? Your turn, buddy. You get a +1 dice modifier.
Oh, 12, 14.
Nice. So it's going down, and then suddenly the engines on the back kind of flare to life, and you zoom and swoop down like near the like nape of the earth, and up. You're controlling it. It's about 1 kilometer until the spaceport, in which case it's going to be here right fucking now. This thing, you need to get this thing down so you can see what the hell's going on with the drive. So, do you say anything to?
Yeah, we need to land this ASAP.
Well, we could have landed it a minute ago, but that would have been a bad idea.
How close are we to the spaceport?
I'm picturing fucking Ken Watanabe from what do you call it? Inception. I could have pictured this. I could have landed this 10 minutes ago. But so you gonna try and land the sucker?
Yeah.
Then?
Yelling something to land. How close are we to the spaceport? We need to land this thing ASAP.
We're here, Gerald. Just hold on a second.
Okay, so this will be an average pilot spacecraft check with Dex. So, and it'll take you, what is that? 6 minutes.
8, 10.
Nice. So you sort of bring this thing up. You're sort of cruising across this giant gray lake. It's leaving a bit of a wake behind it as you're zooming along, and then you come across this the actual spaceport, and it's a dilapidated mess. There's overgrown platforms that are there, but you can see what is the rough outline of what would have been one of the platforms with like the ferrocrete and whatever to support the landing. You arc this thing around, hit the reverse thrusters, and land it down safely. And the engine, you see, they're cycling down. So you're finally.
Over the comms, I said, "What the fuck hit us?"
I'm hoping that you can tell us.
Sorry,
I'm in the engine room, dude.
this spaceport, is it actually on the planet? I thought it was floating in
Yeah,
space.
it's a low
No,
port.
it's a low port.
It's a low port.
Like an airport.
It's a ground base.
Should
Yeah,
cut
more
back to the
about-
common area, and Will's talking to all the people, and he's like, Fire's an old friend of mine. I did a 3-month show there at the Space Palace where 50% of the tricks were all fire. No problem. Easy to maintain.
Okay. And I'll be over the comms. We should secure the landing zone. It's a military training kicking in.
Because you rolled, I love that. Because you rolled a 12 also on your result from before too.
Yeah,
Anytime you give instructions to the fantasy workers,
yeah.
they're all going to listen.
Nice.
They think you're the
Awesome.
chief right now.
Right. Look at
Yeah.
that.
So
Bedazzle Jesus.
that's all Jesus.
Does Shuji know what Will did? Like, kind of that he was instrumental in leading the group.
I
He's
think.
probably telling you about it.
Why don't you tell us what do they see as they come back? So once you guys have landed, you're sort of going back. You can again looking at the ship. There's that long corridor that leads down to that common area, and maybe there's a bunch of the fantasy inhabitants who are all sort of standing around, sort of listening to Will go on about his fire trip from whatever. There's been a change in the dynamics. The whole trip, that he's been working real hard on those two the women who were leading them, but there's a whole new dynamic now, like a cultish dynamic.
All the dudes are in it on it.
Oh yeah, all the inhabitants of
You have minions.
Military training. We do.
I think that's it. Corker was a pirate.
Pirate, yeah.
Doesn't he have it, or
No, he-
not he?
You're
He's
a
a
scout.
courier.
Scout is government, right?
Scout is government. Like it's the what is it? The Imperial Interstellar Scout Service. The IISS is normally the thing that you're part of when you're part of the crater. But you've got military service and whatnot, but it's not really the same thing as like being part of the Army, Navy, or you were in the Navy though.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in the Navy.
Oh yeah, so you got full on proper training.
So and he was in the Army, right, my brother?
yeah.
So let's secure the landing site, because I think as our military backgrounds, we've been hit by something. We land in unfamiliar territory.
Yep.
Our training would say secure the landing
Sure.
zone.
So I think you would pick up on that they were listening to me, because maybe you'll come out of the cockpit and be like, all right, let's unload the ship, and they're all still talking to me, and then you look annoyed, and I notice, and I'm like, "Oh, you heard him, guys. Let's unload the ship." And as soon as I say that, they're all like, "All right, let's go."
Hold that. Let's secure the place before we start taking
unloading
things
stuff.
out of it.
Okay.
I turn to Will and I go, Moonlight, let's clear the landing. Pull the long blades and we start.
Oh, like
Hacking
it's
away
like,
the
is there
landing.
actually lots of overgrowth? Or what?
It's probably quite a bit of overgrowth. Yeah, like there's the landing pads, and there's sort of a central area where you can, like, in better days there would be transport vehicles going back and forth.
Well, Will takes his long blade out and he gives it to one of the female fantasy workers, and she's clearing out with you.
Yeah.
I'm directing her, like, yes, there, yeah.
Yeah.
So
By the landing
got a
gear,
pistol.
yes.
You two guys,
Right.
I'm looking for where the
I just sigh.
I'm trying to see where oh yeah, okay, so guys, looking at the ship, it looks like there are what do you call them? Air docks? What's the word I'm looking for right now?
Turbulence.
Airlocks, thank you. There's one at the neck of the ship, it looks like. And there's also the big door that can be lowered out back. And give you guys a quick size comparison as well. Let me just quickly show you that photo again, because the guy who made this model did a pretty good job. So you can see the person sitting next to this is the size of the Kobayashi Maru.
Oh yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's like a big bus.
Yeah,
it's big. It's big.
Now,
Why do you
Yeah.
call it the Kobayashi?
He wants a 3-level bus.
Okay, so you guys, the side opens up, and you two
Gerald's
guys
Gerald
go.
goes.
What are you guys carrying?
Pistols.
You got pistols out?
I got
my-
my pistol.
My rifle. I'm holding my pistol, my rifle.
What kind of rifle do you have? The ACR?
Gauss.
Okay, so you step out, and what's there is so imagine, like, when you go to like an old country road and it's all broken up and there's stuff that's grown through it and whatnot. It's like that, but writ large. You step out and it's gray, still because it's overcast. It's still daylight. The air smells funny because every time you step off onto a new planet, there's always a strange smell to the new location. You guys walk out and look around, and you're greeted by nothing but silence. You can see you looking around, trying to study all the windows. So that windows are broken in a lot of points on the starport. It's sort of, you can picture it like a long triangle. There's a fence that's collapsed in a bunch of different places around the entire structure. The pads, the landing pads themselves, because of it's a testament to their construction, they're still largely in play, intact. And then at the far end of the rectangle from where you guys are is where the actual HQ for the low port is, or for the starport, and it has a lot of if you think of kind of like a sci-fi version of like what the hell's the name of that the King Louis Palace is called Versailles. Think of like what Versailles is like, with all the filigree and the extra things, which is a very Drenaxian kind of thing to do. It's like that, but then abandoned for centuries. So there's holes in a lot of the windows, even though they were made of very like high-tech stuff. The march of time is cruel to all things.
So now is Judico going to be dropping supplies to us like at regular intervals or something? Like,
You have a cargo hold full of stuff, and you're
Okay.
you got
like new fencing and whatever,
a
cement.
lot of the
and-
stuff that's in. The reason I went with the Type R crew, it's called subsidized merchant for you, is because you've got like 140 tons of cargo space in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm picturing everything you got
like
in here is
bags of
construction stuff.
cement and
Food
steel beams
and
and,
like stuff like that. So everything you would really need to help rebuild this
Right.
place is there. You
panes
just
of
need-
glass, like just like
Yeah.
everything we need.
Yeah. You made best guesses as to what you like. Further to what you guys said, they made best guesses as to what you would need to get it functioning again. And one of the upsides is that all of these things are fairly boilerplate. Like they're fairly template built, so they're built on the same sort of rough ideas of what's required.
So Gerald's got sort of it cyberized with so he sort of does scans, and if he's satisfied that there's no movement or nothing around, he'll sort of lower his weapon. But while he's doing it, he'll go, "Harry, do you sense anything?"
You hear a the only first sound you hear is because there's tall grasses that are grown around on anywhere that's not covered by ferrocrete. So there's giant, overgrown, what do you call it? Scrub, I guess. No, not scrub, like a field almost of bright green growth. And you hear there's something rustles in one of them, and you kind of both you turn over and wait. Nothing comes of it.
Can I do life detection?
Sure.
Life detection, the most elementary form of telepathy. This is the ability to detect the presence of other minds. Life detection enables a traveler to sense the presence of other minds, the number of minds present, the general type of minds, animal, human, etc., and their approximate location.
Yep.
And while he's doing that, if I can't see it, I'll go to IR infrared.
Okay.
It's an easy.
There's a whatever is rustling through there. It's a small form, kind of going off in the distance. How'd you do?
11, 12, 13, 17.
17. Okay. So you stop and you open yourself up.
You just got my sperm count. 17.
So the one thing that breaks the silence is your twins scream of pain. You scream, drop your weapon. Ah! You grab your head. You take 11 points of damage.
Ow.
So here's the way it works, guys.
That sounds bad.
You take damage to your endurance attribute first, and then you take it to either strength or dexterity. Once either strength or dexterity hits 0, you're passed out. If they're both reduced to 0, we spend 2 hours rolling up a new character.
Okay, so
First off, so what does that put you at in terms of what's your endurance?
my endurance is 10.
Okay, so you lose all of your endurance, and you lose 1 point from either strength or dexterity.
Okay, dexterity is 8, now it's 7.
So remember, recorded the temporary one. So you scream, stagger back, and you're completely winded. You're now suffering a -3 dice modifier for any endurance checks because your endurance is a 0. So that happens, and this is sort of, I'm picturing like maybe you're just poking your head out. The rest of you guys, you're instructing the young woman as
to
the use of your,
clear the brush around where we need to unload things.
and you got your blade out as well too. What do you guys do?
I spin around. I'm assuming first off that it would be attacked, so I zoom around to see if I need to shoot at anything.
You know what? Give me, James, with your new modifier, give me an endurance check, please. Let's see if you remain standing.
6,
Yeah, or you drop to your knees.
5, 6, 7, 8 minus 3 is 5.
Yeah, so you're on your knees and grabbing your head. I can't even put into picture. It's just there's light and sound and auditory sensations and pressure. Think of like the worst migraine that you've had. I think with that roll, you might actually vomit.
Okay. Life detection is reasonably sophisticated and can distinguish intelligent beings from bacteria or unimportant animals in the area.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that happens. What do you guys do?
My first reaction will be to check and see if someone physically attacked them. If there's any.
So you're racing over and you're checking his body. There's no puncture wounds. There's no bleeding. No nothing. You've never heard him scream like this since.
Harry, what's up?
I'm non-responsive.
What do the rest of you guys do? You sort of see this now.
Who else? Is anyone else outside with me?
They're sort of on just at the airlock.
Okay. I'll call to the first person I say and say, help get him back on the ship.
Okay.
I'll run down the ramp and assist in bringing back up the ramp.
Okay.
And then I'll sort of come back, covering us as we get back on the
And
ship.
as you're sort of hobbledly carrying him, I've directed 2 of our fantasy guys, and they just pick him right up and carry him on, no problem.
Sure. So you sort of stagger to your feet. You're just gutted, your stomach is all knots. Your the pain in your fucking head is incredible. You can barely concentrate at this.
Somebody make this man a drink. Will goes and makes him a drink.
Isn't that your job,
Yeah.
steward?
I got it.
Okay. So you bring him. He comes back on board.
It's a really good drink.
Turning your rifle around. Again, still, it's just a ghost town down here.
Okay. So I guess I'll come back on the ship, shut the door, and then maybe we'll move him to medical bay.
Does the ship?
There's not really a medical bay.
No, like that would be on the base.
That's
You
a
just
starship or
basically
something like that.
put it
But
like-
I think this is a merchant.
You put me
Okay,
in the quarters or something.
Yeah, you put
Yeah.
him in
We have a
quarters.
first aid room.
Fortunately,
Fortunately, you
unfortunately,
guys, don't you look at insane medicals? Oh, you got that. Oh, yeah. Physician, heal thyself.
I have a med kit.
do I have medicine?
We can put a band-aid on your head.
Well, what's wrong with him?
We see you guys
He looks
working like
fine.
crazy, and then you stand back and like, yes, that works. And
Yes.
it cuts back to him. His whole head's in a tensor bandage.
It was funny because when we were taking
Yeah.
skills at 0
Gerald-
level,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I want to be a mechanic. I'll take it at 0, which then went on to be. And so I'm like, he'll take medical. So I'm like, yeah, there's no need to duplicate.
Gerald comes in and we've got his head in a tourniquet, and I've got this like fancy drink that he's sipping.
So
Is he
you're
responsive at all?
buddy?
Yeah.
Buddy, do you?
So what do you guys? Let's talk about some character. This man gets brought back on the ship.
What's the matter with him?
Freddy's
He
helped
looks
him up.
fine.
Harry, are you is he responding to me? Harry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Does he suffer migraines?
Harry, I can't tell you. You've never experienced anything like this before, ever.
He's the only one that knows I have psychic powers.
Right.
Okay.
That's
I
why
have
I'm
not
saying.
told
Like,
Yeah,
you.
no, that makes sense. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
asking about migraines.
What do you need us? What do you need me to do? I'll try and like look you in the eye as best I can. And
There,
Do you need some
do
pleasure?
I based on that? Based on that, do I think there's overwhelming life or not, or is it something that's just interfering?
I think,
with
let's see
psychic
here.
powers.
I think what I'm going to get you to roll is
Now, he might have some idea because he fought in.
give me
Science,
no,
psychology.
roll telepathy and intellect.
Don't forget, he served in a couple wars where there might have been some psionic fighting. So
There's not
11.
11. Okay. So when you meet contact with other living beings, the way that psionic sort of works is that anything can have psionic ability. You can test for it, you can train it, you can whatever. So there's sort of like it's effectively a flaky way of describing it would be tapping into the living,
The force.
fields around everything, right? When you do that, there's always some kind of resistance or brushing up against, other things. That's how, in the same way that by touching something, I can feel, I am coming into contact with it physically, but also there's the sensation and whatever else. What think you've experienced in retrospect is instead of like, say, running your hand across a surface of, say, like the tops of some flowers to feel their sensation. What's happened is someone has taken your hand and used a bulldozer to push it up against a tree and grind it along it, leaving it a raw and bloodied stump. Totally broken and unusable. You're shocked that you survived whatever that experience was.
Okay.
So it's not so much that you didn't sense life or anything like that. It's just that whatever the fuck pushed back is unlike anything you've ever experienced before, and just totally overwhelmed what your extraordinary senses would be capable of understanding.
Okay. So, truthfully, I don't really know that.
No, you have no idea. So
is there anything I can do for you?
how do you recover from normal injury?
yeah, it's basically just normal healing. I'm trying to find the
He's our medic.
natural healing is so.
Yeah, but we would
For-
still. I mean,
Yeah.
you tell
What
somebody.
you can do is,
how to
does
heal.
anybody have training in medical care?
Well, I'm a jack of all trades. Bring me the medical kit.
Yeah. So you can make a
that's helpful.
what?
That's right.
That's what Jack of all trades does. It's a really amazing skill.
Really, it's
I do
Will's
have,
amazing costume
zero
that he
medic.
just makes. Yeah, that's
Right.
I have 0 in medic.
Okay, so yeah, so either of you guys can make the check.
Nice.
What you do, guys, is so you only do this once. Hold on, your first aid. So you make a check, and then basically it's a difficulty 8. Whatever the effect is of that roll, that's how many characteristic points you get to restore.
Oh wow.
Can we both heal him?
No,
'Cause
first
that
aid
was-
only happens once.
That was gonna be my next question: is how long does this?
What's your rank?
Natural
Zero.
healing is
Well, you can
1d6
assist me though.
plus your endurance dice modifier per day of
You can
full
do the
rest.
chain where if you
Oh,
succeed,
geez.
I get
Well, then
+1.
I'm resting.
I think it's a good idea.
Can I assist his medical?
Yes, you can. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
medical
Yeah, sure.
plus.
So why don't you make your so this will be again? It's a task chain. So it'll be a difficulty 8 for you. Go ahead and make your roll.
Nice.
Okay, so 8 is actually I don't think there's any change then.
So are we using any of our like intellect or any of these things as well, or
Yes,
is it just straight up
it
medic?
is the first aid. I believe is first aid plus intellect.
Okay, perfect.
Hold on, let me. I want to make sure. Is your education better?
No,
Are you using my med kit?
No, I don't have education. My education's an 8. My intellect's an 11.
First aid is education actually, so I just checked.
Oh, okay.
So it's DC 8 plus education.
Are you
Also
using my
0.
med kit?
Yeah.
You
of
get a
course we are.
+2 to.
Oh wow, nice.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, here we go. That's 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11.
No, there's no +1. He
Oh,
rolled-
you failed.
No, he just
It's just flat, no bonus.
flat, no bonus. He rolled 8. That's either hurts
Oh,
you or hinders you.
I see. I had
What's
to
your
beat
jack
it.
of all trades though? It just gives you
0. It just make.
Oh.
Otherwise, you take a -3 on things you aren't trained in.
Okay. So James, you can recover 2 characteristic points. You can pick whichever ones you want. Just so you know, the amount you're going to heal is 1d6 plus your endurance dice modifier. So you may want to heal endurance first.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
So instead of 0, I'm at 2.
Right.
So he's looking a little better.
Enough you
but
can
he's
walk
still, like,
around. Yeah.
Ashen faced, like you know your brother. He is really fucked up, and you've never seen him like this before. So, what are you guys doing? Like, how are you guys processing? Remember, like you don't know about his psychic powers, so you just know this guy screamed, dropped to his knees, and came back in. Like,
So are you going to continue to leave us in the dark here? Like,
Yeah.
I'll just
I hardly know you guys.
I think we should.
I'm
I think we should
outside.
take,
What if you
uh,
don't-
We're flying the fuck
Take
out
a
of here.
small-
Like, people are just dropping like you're the first ones down there, and you just dropped and almost died.
Yeah,
I
I'll
didn't
say I
almost
think it was some
take a
kind of.
small search party out into the to check out
Yeah,
the space.
exactly. Some kind of an attack.
what's that, Core?
I nominate that we take a small search party out and go and check out the inside of the spaceport.
Says the magician's assistant.
Freddy's got hidden depths.
Freddy is tough.
Yeah. I love that. For you.
Will laughs at your comment.
I love who you picked to play
Mere
her too,
assistant.
Core. Because it's so.
Right.
I love who you picked to play her because she could play up the cute and whatever assistant, but also could be like deadly serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what she's come up with suddenly. When you take a small search party out and whatever, you maybe recognize you maybe recognize some kind of like military. What are you guys? I guess maybe there's some military training here.
From the
Sounds
assistant?
good.
Yeah, from her. She seems to have.
Why don't you take a small, take a few guys go out. I'm gonna take a look at the ship. I want to see if it suffered any damage to the hull.
Okay. So you. So who's the person? You're sending the little girl out?
Well, I'm gonna see who wants to go.
Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna stay here. You guys go and do the dangerous shit.
Well, someone needs to get
Yeah,
the
I'm
ship.
not kidding. You're absolutely right.
Shuji and we'll go with Freddy. But
Okay.
we'll also grab a handful of the fantasy.
Are they combatants?
No,
They're strong. They can help you.
they're very
do
strong.
things.
Like, they can get, but I mean, they're sort of like they're
Meat
not
shields. They're meat shields.
soldiers. Like they're showing up to carry heavy shit and to do basic maintenance kind of stuff.
Is anyone keeping track of how many we have?
20.
Two.
Two women.
22.
I like it's like a counter. How many do we currently have?
0 meat shields destroyed.
Stop reading my notes, Corey.
Can I do a mind link with him then?
Can you mind this?
Ooh.
What does it do?
This power is
Well,
used.
how many sonic points have you spent so far?
I have 13, and I've only spent 1.
Dude, we have
3.
comms.
You always
Why don't
have
we just
3?
use comms?
Yeah.
For those 3 powers? I thought they're more expensive than that.
I've been using either. They're 1.1 ones.
Okay. Yeah.
Why don't we just
You
use comms? I got a built-in head comm.
Oh, yeah, that's you're right. I'm
Sure.
not thinking science fiction here.
Okay.
So we'll use comms.
Yeah, again, just as a reminder, remember that this is a sci-fi game. You guys all have a comm unit that has at least the functionality of your smartphone.
I got.
So,
Oh yeah, and
games.
yeah.
so I might.
got a neural.
I'm not a.
Oh, okay, cool. So both of you guys have neural
And
comms.
I'm not quite sure exactly how the computer rules work because I haven't had a chance to. But I bought programs, so I got the digital friend, agent,
Yep.
and intellect. So I've got a woman's voice in my head. There's a computer there that's
So
got a personality.
Here's what we're gonna do, because I love the digital friends. I'm really glad you took one. Dave, you're gonna role play his digital friend.
You're the chick in my head who can help out with things.
What is
I'll be
she like?
Siri?
Yeah, you're Siri.
Yeah, you're his Siri. But the thing is, they're very advanced. So like, what is it? What does she appear as? What does she? You have cyber eyes, right?
Yeah.
She appears in your field of vision. Think of like Blade Runner, the second one.
Cortana from Halo.
Oh, yeah.
Jim,
so
are
the
you-
second,
are you going
the
on
AI from
on
the
the
AI lover
Venture
from
Party to check out
Blade Runner?
Blade Runner?
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
Here.
So you can
I
have
know,
that.
I
That's
love
something like,
super
because you're
super
cyber thing,
man.
you superimpose.
I got like
Yeah, you're that
little
chick from
body
Blade Runner.
pistol. I've got a bow.
Yeah.
And my sword.
No, the AI.
Joy.
His AI girlfriend.
While those
You're
guys
my
are
AI
off on
girlfriend.
their adventure, Kev,
It's gonna
Will is
get
over
weird,
talking
but
to
alright.
Jim, and he is like, Jim, you're a scientist. What do you think is wrong with this guy? What kind of broken protectors did they Gendico send us with? Something wrong with these Hawkins twins.
Shuji looks at
Well, you
Will.
know
No, you
we're
guys aren't
twins.
here. This is while you're going on the adventure, right?
I don't know
we're
we're
getting
twins
it
because
well.
remember I got officially altered.
Oh, you're not
We don't
telling
look,
us
we
that.
don't look the same.
Your brothers, whatever. These brothers, there's something wrong with them. What kind of an injury?
Something they have not told
Something
us.
something is not right.
Something they have not.
Freddie,
told
you're
us.
going with Shuji, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Freddie and Shuji, you got what? How many guys you want to take with you?
Let's take four guys.
Okay. And they got that kind of like vacant Brad Pitt look on, like, ugh.
Also from Thelma and Louise.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent.
I love how you guys are picking like movies with the direst ending to be references for today. It really fits thematically. Okay, so you pick those things up, and you're good to go. You've got your comm link. You're still sitting. You're still functional. Like, you're going to suffer pretty significant penalties to your endurance, but your intellect, your size, fine. So, like, you two guys were chatting.
Yeah, that's happening when we're like alone after
Sure.
they leave.
So first things first, because it probably takes the least time. Jerry, you go outside and inspect the hull. And why don't you give me a recon check with intellect, please? Oh, no. You know what? Hold on. I think it'd be engineering.
All right. What was the name of the chicken Blade Runner? It's not coming up.
The actress?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Her character name and
Oh, I see it twice. What is it, Cork?
Joy.
Joy.
Okay, you're Joy.
Was it the new Blade
Yeah.
Runner or the old one?
So then, Brent, if you want the thing to do anything, role play it with Dave.
Okay.
Do we keep any superhumans
Joy.
with us to kind of
Scan the ship's
Oh yeah, we
computer.
only sent
Joy,
like,
link with the ship's computers. See if they can figure out what happened when everything went screwy.
Yes, Mr. Hawkins. Processing. 1 moment, please.
I don't have to be so formal.
60s sci-fi computer.
Yeah. You can call me Jim. You call me
Take your dimmer setting down a notch there, Tars.
Oh shit. Okay, so what Brent, I'm sorry, I was being a smart ass. What was it you're asking?
Oh, I was just getting Joy to link with the ship's computers to see what happened at the moment everything went down.
Okay. Give me a
We'll go with the actress's name, Anna.
So Anna, is it called Joy?
Anna instead of Joy.
Anna instead of Joy. Anna Banana. Okay.
and she looks like a banana.
A talking banana.
Hey. Just weird. Change
Oh,
your
nice.
imagery back.
Brent, what is your your agent?
Senior Joe.
What's your agent role again?
My what?
The agent program. What rating is it? 2?
No, 1.
1. Okay. So give me it's 2d6 plus 1, please.
Right.
Should I peel myself for you, Gary?
How did you program me, Jerry? Why am I doing this? So what's as you're sort of inspecting the outside, Anna does run the check. Does she disappear when that happens?
Yeah, she'd only pop up when we're chatting.
Love it. Okay, so you're walking. We can see you walking around outside the hall with your gun still there. You give me engineering plus intellect check, please.
What kind of engineering?
I
Or would
think,
it be mechanics for this?
maybe it's mechanics. Yeah, I think maybe mechanics. Let's see here.
Because engineering is all like engines or power plants or.
No, you're right. Then it'd be mechanics. So give me a mechanics. Yeah, A plus intellect, please.
10.
Awesome. Okay, so you're sort of just completing an inspection of walking around the hall. You've seen that Shuji and Freddy and two of the guys have made their way off towards the the far end of the complex, and you're looking and like there's no sign of exterior damage. Hold on, actually, I'm going to do this.
I'll talk to Anna. I'll be like, Anna, there doesn't look like there's any exterior damage out here. What do you got for me?
Anna will run an internal diagnostic. And does it look like it's most likely sabotage?
So I'm just giving you a list here, Anna, of what you've learned.
One moment. Processing.
Working.
Recording.
Anna, this is the information you got.
Hello, Jerry. There has been critical damage to the engine, irreparable damage to the M drive, and repairs are required. There has been no sign of sabotage to the ship.
What do you mean irreparable damage to the M drive?
The M drive will no longer function without major overhaul.
That's exactly what your character would do too.
He's up there, and it probably goes over the comms you hear. Fuck.
So yeah, it's
Because his
there's an
brain
actual
calm just
component.
sends it out.
There's a this requires a replacement of a component. Guess what's not on this ship right now on the planet?
Component.
On the ship or on the planet? There
On
we
the
go.
planet. Well, there are other inhabitants on the planet.
Dun, dun,
But-
dun.
I'm going to guess that a bunch of medieval tech level monks probably don't have an M drive component.
It's a
What? So then we need. How is messages sent? Interstellar.
Remember, there's no such sent by ship,
Carrier pigeon.
Oh, the courier pigeons.
right? Because there's no such thing as faster than light communication. So you can communicate within the same system, but
Well, we
It
must
only
have a
travels.
time period before
Ultimately,
the
this is your-
Gendico
Right?
people are coming or the fantasy
Hey,
people
blame your
are
dad.
coming.
What was
no, the fantasy people are here with you. That's why you brought
No,
them.
no,
with
no.
you.
I know. I'm talking about like to return them, or they're expecting us to return them.
It's possible.
when are they supposed to make contact at all in the schedule?
Well, you guys did say that you would be here. You know, you guys as long as you needed. There's no set deadline.
Well, we could be here for a while until one of those free
Forever.
merchant comes by.
Well, there had to be a system in place for us to let them know when the work is done, so that the port is opened up and people start coming. Like there has to be some
That's where you would go
system
back.
in place.
All right, Jerry, we got to work on our worker. We got to figure out a workaround here.
Is there anything else that you need from me at the moment?
Yeah, a workaround. Come on, we can do it.
Processing workaround.
That's probably beyond your. Well, let's see. Give me.
He'll be talking to her
Well, no,
just
the
like
thing is,
a
you know,
person.
Brian. Like I think, like whatever way the problem is there's some component that's just not working any longer in the M drive that requires a replacement.
Oh, yeah.
If this was in any, even like when this place is up and running, a Class D starport would have those supplies available.
So the J jump is working, just not the M.
Yes, which means
So
that-
we need to go up somehow before we can. go
well,
out.
you need to go up and then 100 times whatever the dimension of sync is away from sync to get out of the gravity well, and then you can activate the jump drive.
We need to make a really big slingshot.
Begin working on slingshot. Okay, so let's cut to you guys making your way down towards the complex then. So what are you guys bringing with you? Just so I have an idea of what you're carrying. I think the people from they got some like tools they're carrying with them.
Full combat gear.
But what do you have as combat? Like your armor and
I have the armor, the reflect armor.
Yeah.
I've got the binoculars, dagger, cutlass, auto pistol, and sniper rifle.
so I picture that like you've been wearing this magician's assistant thing the entire trip, right? She goes into her room and then she walks out. Her hair is all up in a bun, and she's in this like it's a fucking full-on combat sniper outfit. She's like, "All right, let's go." How do you respond to this?
Freddy, is all that for magic?
That's the trick.
If I see her on the way out, I go, "That's a good look for you."
Yeah, I'm not gonna fuck you.
That's over the comms. Okay.
Shuji stands
And then you hear over the comms from Will, "Are you in need of pleasure?"
Shuji stands there with his own laser sniper rifle, looking at it, looking at Freddy, looking at his, looking back into his
His rifle is like much shorter.
Yep.
Because I'm conscious, can I do medics for my own myself?
You can. I think.
That's what it all worked out.
Well, no, like you've already first aid has been done, so you only need first aid once. But what you could do is,
Orbital defense cannon. Okay.
yeah. So like
Not
you
so
can't use
crazy
medical
now.
care. It was only 1 or 2 damage characteristics.
Damn you, Mike.
Hold on, after it's been applied. I will say fine because I think that I don't want to bother like fucking looking around trying to find the rule. So what I'll let you do is you've got access. I'm assuming to you're not in a hospital by any means. But let's see. You can use medical care. I'm looking on page 78. So medical care restores 3 plus their traveler's endurance modifier plus the doctor's medic skill in characteristic per day, divided evenly amongst all damaged characteristics. So we'll see you can do that. So basically of the day, but we'll deal with that when the day passes. You need to be in bed doing nothing for that whole time then.
So that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay. So you're in bed and dealing with that. All right. So as Freddy and Shuji are making their way down this thing, it's the actual length of this is probably like 2.5, maybe close to 3 football fields in length. And as you're walking along, you're passing these overgrown landing platforms. You guys can hear the buzzing of insects around, and as you're getting closer towards this structure, it appears less of like tarnished grandeur, and it appears more like sinister Baroque as you're getting closer and closer towards this. The darkened windows, the one door is slid open, the other door is still closed to get into the entrance. There's giant parched or rather overgrown flower planters that were out front before. And you walk up, and this thing, as you get closer, it's about 3 stories tall, and it looms over you. And what do you do?
You know what? Shuji looks at Freddy and says to her, "You have a plan for going in?"
I'm just going to listen at the door, like put my ear to the door and see if I can hear anything on the other side. Nada? Okay, is it a powered door?
It once was, but one of the doors has slid open and the other one is closed. So you got certainly enough room to get in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll step inside the room.
Yeah. Okay. So you step inside.
Yeah.
Get in there. You can tell this once was something quite spectacular because there is this like sweeping staircase that leads up to a second floor. There's a mostly destroyed kind of like chandelier type thing that hangs from a. Actually, I think it lies on the floor because it once hovered. And it's a dusty and overgrown ruin. There's cracks in the floor where things have actually grown through in a couple spots. There's dust, and there's a sign of something having made a nest at some point in here as well. And there are hallways leading out to the sides. There are, there's so much dust and dirt that's caked on top of some of the other signs inside. You can't even tell what these other little rooms are.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear nothing at all.
Okay, well, it's in disrepair.
It's in a lot of disrepair, yeah.
But there's nobody in here.
Just you guys.
Should we clear the building, Freddy?
Let's just scout out and see if there's any other damage to the structure.
On the outside or the inside?
Inside.
Inside, okay. So there are, how are you going to go about that? Are you guys all going together or are you guys splitting up?
Well, there's no one in here, so we could go in teams of 2.
Each you take one big guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see what.
I think we went in with 4, right? So we'd each get
4. Sorry.
2.
I thought it was 2. Okay, so you each get 2. All right. So you guys go through. I'll hit some of the high points. So, Dave, evens or odds?
Odds.
Odds. Okay. So, Dave, you come across the what looks to be sort of a view. You walk into this big open room, and there's now whatever the windows have mostly shattered, but this was a room that looked out across the lake. It has even with the how overgrown and dusty and dirty this place is, and it's been exposed to the elements for so long. Like there's a thick layer of dirt that's blown in here at this point as you're kind of walking around. But it likely once was a lounge or a study of some kind, and looks like there are some paintings of some kind on the walls that are completely obscured by dust and dirt and shit like that. And yeah, that's sort of what you see in there. There's some other, you could do some more exploration if you want to, but that's one of the first rooms you come across. Next up, let's see here. Dave, you also, we'll just alternate maybe. Cork, you go into, we cut to you walking in with the 2 brutes, and you have to get one of them to sort of push the door open.
Yeah.
They open it up, and you walk inside, and you got like a light on your shoulder that's sort of illuminating this, because all the lights are gone out in this whole.
Yeah.
You're looking around, and what looks to have been a dining room. There's a bunch of tables, some overturned, some destroyed. You sort of like, that insane flimsiness that wood gets with age.
Yeah.
That's what these things are. So you sort of hit one, and it fucking falls apart in no time. You know that none of these things would support your weight. And as you're going along, would you give me a recon check, please, plus intellect?
7 plus intellect is 0.
Plus recon.
7.
7. Okay. So you're looking around, and you see there's one point where there's everything in here is gray or dull brown, right? Like it's all just dirt and caked decay. But there's a point where there's something catches your light. It reflects the light, and as you get in closer, you look down, and it's a bright red color and liquid.
It's still liquid?
Still liquid.
Is it blood?
It looks to be blood. Not much of it. Maybe like no bigger than a couple spatters about the size of like a loonie.
Okay. And this is fresh?
It's relatively fresh, yeah.
All right.
It's dry, so it's a little pasty.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a bit of a trail that leads away, and as you sort of arc your shoulder to bring the light up, you see about maybe a foot and a half away from where those big stains are, there is some kind of furred small creature that appears to have been splayed. It's on its back, and the inside of its belly is all torn up.
Does it look like by an animal or by tools?
Do you have any training in medicine?
Nope.
It's hard to tell.
I'm gonna get on the radio with Dave.
Okay, Shuji.
And Shuji. I found something interesting over here. You might want to come take a look at it.
What did you find, Freddy?
Blood.
Is there anything or anyone in the room?
Can I just point out one thing, guys?
Yeah.
Remember, high-tech setting. You could use your comm unit, take a picture, and send it to him if you want.
Oh, right. Hold on a second. I'm going to take a selfie with the blood.
Blood selfie.
Douchebaggery persists into the fifth millennium, sixth millennium, I guess.
On a private channel, I'm like glad we're working with professionals.
Okay, so you take that, and do you share that with? I'm assuming you guys. I'll let you guys have like a sort of group network or whatever. Do you want to share that with everybody, or you want to share it just with Shuji?
Just Shuji.
Okay, so Shuji,
Yeah, go ahead.
you see exactly what I described to him. Do you have any training in medicine?
No.
Okay. This thing, whatever this thing was, it's no bigger than what like maybe like a gopher would be. So it's not huge. It's just
Dead.
Or is it?
I did have undead gopher threat as one of my bucket lists on gaming. So
Oh, what's the Planescape? The cranium rats, the rat swarm.
love them. Love them.
Freddie, check the body.
All right. I'm gonna poke around at the body.
It's dead.
Okay, there's nothing special about this. It's just a dead muskrat.
Was it shot? How did it die?
Yeah, can I see if there's any bullet holes on it at all?
You can see there's a giant bloody mess of it, but
You can't take another photo of it and send it to him?
yeah.
I'll send a close up.
Hi. There's no bullets in it. You would think that if this thing was hit with a bullet, it would have exploded, right?
Okay, right. All right. So is there any other areas to search here?
Are you done with this room then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So next up will be Dave. You're making your way into from the study. You sort of wander your way through the darkened hallways as well too, and you come into the kitchen. And this is the kind of once grand and well, I mean, to be honest, high tech kitchens that was suitable for a place this size. There's a big industrial, ovens that are there again covered in dust and whatnot too. There's a very advanced flue. There's some kind of like processing machine off in the corner that has. It's not clear what purpose it would be put to, because I don't think you've got any training in like fine cooking or anything like that. And there is a massive fridge as well too, still sealed. You haven't searched the fridge yet, but everything else in here seems there's pots and stuff like that. And
Is it a large walk-in fridge? Is that?
yeah, it's a massive like industrial walk-in fridge.
2,600 years old.
And there's been no power to the.
No power at all.
But I think after 2,600 years, it's not going to stink so much anymore.
I don't know.
It might not even be working, so it probably just
I think
empty.
2,600 years is fossilized meat, not rotted meat.
Yeah, there's nothing.
All right. Yeah. Shuji will opens the door.
And you can kind of picture that. It's just we cut to inside the fridge and it's black, and then the door opens. Whoa, and we see this little light being flashed from your shoulder as you step in and look around. And there's nothing in particular that jumps out at you here, apart from the fact that the canisters are full. All the shelves are completely fully stocked. None of it.
Abandoned.
Yeah, none of it is palatable. None of it would be suitable for eating, but everything is still stocked here.
So whatever happened here.
Why did they abandon this outpost?
It's not clear. The period of the long night was a period of effectively like no communication. All the lights went out across the galaxy because interstellar trade became basically impossible. What's known about this place and about what this region of space comes through the small surviving records that the remnants of Drinax have recovered. And as you can imagine, the Drinaxi were styled themselves as the inheritors of the Sindal Empire. That means that they're going to probably spin whatever version of the truth is or the history in their favor. So it's at best a rough sketch of what actually happened. At worst, just nothing but propaganda and lies.
Right.
So
Shuji keeps an actual constant broadcast feed to Freddie, so that
okay.
so that basically Freddy sees everything that Shuji's seeing.
So, Freddie, you're the next one to explore. We cut back to you, and you're making your way through what seem to be the administrative offices of the Starport. There's a bunch of, abandoned and dusted over terminals. We see some pale light that's coming in through some of the shattered windows. And to be clear, it's bright outside. It's daytime outside, but because of the amount of dust that's caked on the inside of some of these windows, it's only through the broken bits is where and as you're walking around here, there looks like there's a bunch of fairly advanced but non-functional computer terminals.
Yes, non-functional because they don't have power, or
do you sort of hit the things? You'd guess that that's the case. Do you have any training in engineering or
electronics?
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm not. You don't have to roll. Yeah, like you think this place has no power, so you can't tell whether these things would otherwise be functional. But right now, there's no power to them.
I'm just gonna ask Dave if we have a mobile power unit on board.
I think you guys would have. Yeah.
Yeah, we have one on the ship. Freddie, are any of your weapons laser weapons?
Yes.
You have an energy pack with that if you need a temporary power source.
Oh, really?
You have to jury rig it. What's your electronics in?
In general.
Okay, so it's a 0. So I think that would be a pretty. You'd need the tools for it, which I don't think he has with you. It's doable, but it's probably someone like Harry or Jerry rather that you'd want to do that. But yeah, that's absolutely possible.
Let's get Jerry to run up a mobile power terminal and get this going.
All right.
I'm gonna radio back Jerry and say, get down here, stat with a mobile power unit.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that right now not much we can do immediately for the ship. I'll be right there with that tool. So
okay.
Shuji will chime in with and bring temporary lighting.
Okay, I'll do that, and I'll get some of the fantasy people still on the ship.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not quite sure how big the generator is. If it's not self-portable, I'll grab 1 or 2 of them to help with it.
So you grab some of the you let them do the heavy lifting. These guys lift it like you sort of like. What's your strength?
Not well, 6.
Okay, so you're just a little less, a little below average. So you grab it and kind of like, you move it over, and when these guys comes over and lifts it like it's an empty box. It's like, let me get that for you.
They actually pick Gerald and the generator up together.
Well, yeah.
Are they all clones?
What's that?
Are they all clones?
No, they're not clones, but they're genetically engineered, though.
Okay. So would they be a model number that looks like a particular actor?
Oh well, that's what I was thinking. Like I
wouldn't go Brad Pitt. I would go Matt Damon with that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like there's any of these tall, athletic, strong, handsome actors. Any one of them could fit the bill.
So like Lou Ferrigno.
Maybe like the people that engineered it know.
So
maybe the people that engineered it know and did it on purpose that it looks like Matt Damon.
Yeah, I think in the TV version it can be 1 or 2 of them look like a lot like Matt Damon, but they're not like tailor made. They're just they alter their genetic code, so when they procreate, they have certain.
They all look different.
Yeah, they all look different. They're not like
All right.
They're not clones.
No.
So not Swedish.
Right. It's not Swedish. Yeah. So you've been asked to run some things up. What are you guys doing during this time?
Okay, I'm getting a bourbon.
Okay, so you get out of bed and you sort of you're in the common area and you're sort of resting against the against one of the tables with a glass of bourbon in front of you. Jim, you walk in, or Will walks in, and maybe Jim is there as well too because you guys were trying to clear some thing. You walk back onto the ship and I don't know why we were clearing the grass. It doesn't seem to be doing anything up there. And then you see them.
What do you mean? Doesn't seem to be doing anything?
Because they were going to go and sort of bushwhack a path, but there really wasn't that much, and what they'd be doing is trimming the lawn effectively rather than actually clearing a path. So he walks in with the 2 women, following behind him. Jim comes in as well, and you see Harry sitting down at the table, grasping his head. And again, it's John Wick era Keanu Reeves who's sitting at the thing. What do you guys say to him? if anything.
You look like shit.
Are you
Yeah.
feeling any better?
Marginally.
Do you know what it was that attacked you?
I don't. I just know that I don't know anything. There's something strange going on
Was
here.
it physical pain?
No, it's mental pain. It's in my head.
Mental pain.
Worst job at hiding ever.
What?
It's pain in my head. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's almost as if a set. Oh,
Can Shuji and Freddy hear all this?
No, we
I-
wouldn't
no,
have
I don't
open
think so.
comms.
No,
We're just having a
no.
conversation.
no, unless you guys are specifically messaging them, then they're just having a conversation. The Jim's come back in as well too.
It might be prudent if we get some of the fantasy people to help set up like a defensive perimeter around the ship, since obviously we've been attacked by something. Like even if it was simply planters filled with mud, it would give us cover around the ship in case we were attacked. Or
So,
Have we figured out what's wrong with the ship yet?
well, you're running the stuff back right now,
No,
so I
we
don't know if
what
you.
happened to it.
I would just be thinking out loud or telling these, or just passing my thoughts along.
So,
to the
these
comms.
guys, or you're messaging them.
Everyone in general. Just say, I wonder if we should probably set up a defensive perimeter. Is there anyone unavailable on the ship?
What are they defending themselves from?
Well,
Or with
no, just like a defensive, like we should put up like barriers around the ship or something. Obviously, something attacked us landing here, and obviously something attacked Harold when we landed. Right now, if we have
Attack?
How do we?
We
how
were
do-
attacked
how do
in
we-
space?
How do we know anything attacked us? Have we actually looked at the damage to the ship? Is there any damage on the ship?
yeah, I think so. Right? There was,
And I am asking that over the comms.
There was no damage to the hull, but there was internal damage to the drive and some other things, or just the drive.
Well, they were
Anna
they
did-
were damaged, but that's
Anna did tell you it doesn't look like sabotage.
Okay.
It doesn't look like sabotage, but what is there physical damage? Is like plates ripped up and stuff?
No.
Well, doors blow off of compartments if fire breaks out there sometimes. You know, like there could have been an explosion. Doesn't mean that there's.
But Harold was attacked. Something attacked him. I don't know how it attacked him, but something attacked him.
Wow.
Is this all on open comms?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's starting an open conversation. So
Shuji will pipe up with, perhaps your brother has brain tumor. Why would they send help with a tumor?
There's this disbelief and
worst character death ever. And you have a tumor that is inoperable. You die. That's so good.
That is exactly how Ken Watanabe would say it.
Oh man. Oh,
Then there's no reason not to
Gerald,
drink
if
bourbon.
anyone has seen him, he's probably only the two fantasy guys are with him. See the look of disbelief on his face, going, "What the fuck have I got myself into with these people?" But
well, you're not telling us what happened.
Well,
Like,
it's-
we're,
we're- I was saying,
we
I
don't
don't know.
speculating.
We don't know what happened.
we're speculating.
That's
There's a
just
good
it.
chance he was attacked by something. The ship is not defendable.
I am not even.
Yeah, but that's
convinced.
like saying you had cramps and then trying to say you were
Yeah.
attacked by something.
Someone
It's meaningless to us.
Someone
That's exactly
You weren't attacked.
You
No
have
one
head
gets head
pain.
cramps and like devil's ulcer.
Yeah, sure.
To be fair, people with brain tumors, in fact, do get brain cramps.
Right.
So, really,
But I'm just saying, like the story that the Hawkins are telling
the
everyone
relative
else
probability is
doesn't jive with an attack.
you have brain cramps.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, the Hawkins brothers haven't been. Yeah.
Fortright, yeah, we get it. But I'm just saying, our characters are like, no, what?
No, this isn't true.
I
You have a
haven't
headache.
said it
Right.
is an attack.
There's some. Okay. Harold doesn't agree that he was attacked, Gerald. Why are you so militaristic? Relax. Come back here and have a bourbon with us.
Almost-
We're just sitting here having a bourbon.
you're
on the
walking down
ship.
the tarmac towards this creepy old building, and lugging all this shit. He's like, just come back and have a bourbon.
You need to calm your nerves.
You're like, Anna, kill the comms.
Put up a barrier.
Well, I'm saying like from a defensive, but like the ship's just got airlocks. There's nowhere if we had to defend it to like really do so. Unless
there's
we're-
no guns on it either.
Defend it
So
from what?
We've got 22.
The monks are 150 miles away.
And if they can attack my brain, the little barriers we set up around the ship is not going to do anything.
Right. The last I want to do is have these poor weak-minded fantasy men out building your walls around the ship.
No offense.
to the fantasy men who are standing behind you, kind of look at each other like,
They're not stupid. They're just
compliant.
yes.
But not for long.
Not for long. That's
So,
yeah.
while this is going on, Freddy and Shuji, are you guys trying to like get back together? Meet up in one place?
I'm
or-
assuming we're exploring different levels, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, once we've cleared our level, we would meet up again.
To be fair, probably only the fantasy women were where we are currently.
Yeah. So
The men are all helping you guys.
Right.
the you guys have explored
Just
sort of
use the
most of
layers.
what can be done on the main level.
Women.
Who wants the second level, guys, and who wants the basement?
I think we send out one of the fantasy men for the upper level and one go down to the basement. I'll wait by the commander.
Do you just sit like canary in a coal mine kind of thing? You're just setting them out.
Does he
That's it?
come back alive? Maybe I'll go look.
Yeah, why not? I'll send him out and say, we'll meet back here in 20 minutes.
So you're just waiting for them to come back?
Yeah, I'm going to just scout out these computers and see what I can see.
Okay. So without power, there's not really much that can be done with the.
Well, I'm kind of waiting for Brent to bring the power.
That's fine. You can just wait with the. The fantasy guys would stay with you guys then, I guess.
Shuji takes his crew into the basement.
Okay. So what happens while we were waiting for what do you call it, for Harold or Gerald to reach the thing? We sort of cut to the door to the basement sort of go off, and there's that light kind of shining down too. There's a stairwell leading down. There is a lift that leads down here too, but without power, it's non-functional. So you find a stairwell that finally leads down. You make your way down. Are you leading the way, or are you letting the fantasy guys go first?
No, Shuji will go first.
Should you go first? Okay, so you're making your way down, and so then you make your way down, and the hallway sort of, because it's designed to have the lift go down. It's sort of concrete that goes down and then turns to the left for a second set of, or turns around for the second set of stairs down. When you get to the second set of stairs, you start making your way down, and then you see that there's a reflection on the ground that's casting light back because it's not fully flooded. You can still see the door leading out, but there's water in here that looks to be quite deep. You'd guess from the size of the door, the water is probably about maybe 3.5 to 4 feet deep.
It's like chest height.
Yeah.
Go in.
Let's go swimming.
Go for it.
Shuji walks down the stairs as far as he can, and basically takes a visual look around the basement.
Okay, so you have to get down to the water a little bit to get there, then, because
Okay. Yeah, as long as he's not fully submerged.
no.
Let's say
You can walk down. So you get down and test, and it does go up to about like here-ish, right?
Yeah.
And you make your way in. You're keeping your rifle above the water line. Get down, and you sort of the door is stuck. So you sort of like, what's your strength?
7.
Okay, so you're. It's kind of like, and then one of the guys kind of grabs it and helps you and pushes it aside. And you walk in, and the basement is, if you picture like a, like any sort of like high industrial like generator type scene from any sci-fi film. There's lots of concrete on the walls, or ferrocrete maybe. There's big power, generators in there, all submerged in water, and there's then also a bunch of detritus that's kicking around in here as well. Some shit that's just floating around on the surface, mostly like organic debris of some kind or another. The water is really fucking cold, and
Putrid, I'm sure.
it's stagnant. Like it's got kind of a slough kind of stink to it. And the room sort of stretches out
Cat's gonna stick to you.
for quite some distance. There's some like sub rooms in here too, and there's a caged off area where some other kind of control stuff is set behind. But you're sort of looking around, and it's just it feels incredibly claustrophobic because of the water. The ceiling's actually still a good 1.5 feet above where you are, but just because of where the water sits, it's got that claustrophobic kind of like coffin-ish, feel to it.
Is it? Are there any openings to exterior through the basement?
Not that you can see. No, there's no natural light down here. But judging from some of the other exterior things you've seen, the windows may very well just be completely caked over with centuries of mud and dust and shit like that.
Okay.
So you finish the inspection. Around this point is where when you head back up to the second floor, this is around when Jerry arrives with the two other guys from Fantasy toting the portable generator. So Jerry, what do you do when you get there?
Okay, so take a look.
This is around when like the conversation happened about the defenses and whatnot. So you get there in time to you're shaking your head at the conversation that's happening back on the Maru, and you get there. What do you say?
All right, so what do you guys got for me? And I'll take a look around, see if I can find where the outlet for the generator would go in to start power.
Well, remember you just got there. Do you want to maybe find where they are?
Oh, I thought we when you said got there to
No, you got to the building. So
okay, I'm at the building. Where am I bringing the generator to?
The office area, and I'll just pinpoint on the map.
Sure. So you sort of give a rough idea. You get sort of a rough display of what's.
Okay, I'll pop it up on my cyber eyes and
Sure.
walk towards it.
Sure. Ask Anna.
Yeah.
So Anna sort of like gestures, and then it appears.
Quickly zips up her banana skin.
Gerald.
Okay, and you make your way down to you meet up. You walk in, and it's exactly as I described. Right, it's dark with this tiny little bit of like a single sort of long shaft of light coming in from the one side. Otherwise, it's dark. There's two of these men from Fantasy who are sort of going around and checking through some of the debris. And there's Freddie, who's walking around in her full, combat regalia, who's standing near this computer when you walk in.
All right. I'll take a look and see where I can plug it in and do my mechanics thing and
Sure.
and try and get once I get it up, I'll see if
If you get it up.
let's
That's
go
not
for
true.
that.
It's a clever play to try and skip past the.
Yeah.
Can I assist? Can I assist in this got you at all?
No, you're not. Are you trained in electronics at all?
Yeah, I got a 0.
Yeah, you can. So, but remember, it's an extended task. So if you roll poorly, you'll actually hurt his progress.
Do it.
Take a look. It's on page 60 of the core rulebook. 60. You can see how the task chain works.
It's like having your little daughter come
And
and say, I'm
this
going to
might-
help you. It's like you just make
Yeah, this might be mechanics because I was looking at electronics. It's got computers, remote ops, and sensors, and it doesn't really seem to be.
as well as comms.
Doesn't have a comms. Oh, right at the bottom. That I
But
missed.
it's not comms. It's
It's not comms either. It's,
What's the
It's a
worst that could
generator.
happen, Corey?
This is computers. What you're trying to do.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. There's a computer source. Okay.
So Cork, give me a roll 2d6 and add your intellect and your electronics computers.
So it would be intellect plus 0.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If I have 0 as my rank, doesn't that give me a bonus?
No, that means you got 0. That is your bonus. When you go to 0, it means you're not taking the -3 untrained penalty.
I rolled 3.
All right. So that was an.
I'm like standing behind him, just like annoyingly telling him what to do, and then he fucks it up.
So he's basically he's trying to, or she, I should say, is trying to help you, but it's completely fucking with your attention. So you've got -2 to your dice check because of his help.
Her boobs are hanging over your shoulder.
So what's your computer electronics skill?
It's 2.
Okay.
And which attribute goes with it?
Intellect for this.
Okay, so. Oh, and I need an 8.
I'll tell you, the reason it's intellect instead of just education is because you're problem solving.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. My intellect is
you
higher.
can
than my
take
education.
time to make it go better.
Yeah,
or
yeah, absolutely.
You might
So
want to take time.
I think
for
what
being
this will
distracted.
take is, I think it's.
Yeah, if I can do the Pathfinder equivalent of taking a 10 or
So basically, instead of taking D6 times 10 minutes, it'll take D6 hours to work on this.
Whoa.
But what does
You
that
get
give
plus
him?
plus 2 though. That'll offset the, Freddie's help.
I mean, it might only take an hour.
Yeah, you know what?
I mean, we're setting this base up for months of being
Yeah, I
here,
don't
so
mind
you're probably
doing
gonna
it.
do it right.
and the people on the ship are not. I'm sort of kind of irritated.
Well,
Anyways, so I have to be like,
Yeah.
like we land here, the ship almost crashes, and they're like, "Oh, we're late. Let's drink whiskey." I'm like,
Yeah.
Are they drinking whiskey
Your
back on the
brother's
ship?
hobbled. You can't expect me down.
Are they drinking whiskey back on the ship?
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Plus,
So I'm like, I have no I'm like fucking people I'm stuck with on this planet. So if it takes a bit longer, I'm cool with that.
There.
Plus, we almost died, so we have to celebrate with whiskey.
yeah, we survived.
It was survived.
We're
Okay,
medicated.
so I rolled how
Harold.
long it'll take.
Okay.
So
Going
go ahead.
anywhere.
So you get +2. Basically, Brendan, just make a roll with your normal electronics computers.
Hours later.
Well, and our plan would probably be to
8.
sleep
I got it
on
right
the
in the
ship
nose.
for
I needed that
Okay.
penalty.
So it actually only took you 1 hour.
Okay.
Okay, so during that hour, Dave, what are you doing? Are you going to the second floor? You knew it was going to take him some time. So before I tell you what's happened with that thing, did you want to go explore second floor? Freddie, are you staying with him the whole time or what?
No, I think he's probably pissed off at me, so I'm gonna go with Dave to the second floor.
Okay.
Yeah, put your boobs
So
away.
are you
damn
going to
it.
go second floor then with all together? Okay.
How long has it been since my mind messy?
Maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you hear over the comms, "Freddie, how's the entertainment area look? Is there a stage? Is it nice?"
There's an area where we could definitely make a nice stage.
Perfect. I've got the girls here. We're talking about plans.
These rough drawings of sort of like what the stage is going to look like and what their costumes
For
are
some
gonna
reason,
look
when
like.
he's talking, I'm not picturing Dave Arquette. I'm picturing Christopher Walken.
Yeah. That's good.
How's the stage?
No, Will
Okay,
Arnett.
So, yeah, really. So Freddie and Shuji, you guys, what are you doing, Jim? For this time,
Hanging out.
well, you could have gone with Jerry if you wanted. Or you're cool hanging with Jim.
Actually,
Yeah.
over the
Okay.
It's entertaining.
With Will.
Okay.
Yeah.
over the comms, I'll call out to the guys still on the Maru that we need a pump over at the base.
The HQ, yeah. Okay.
Oh, we'll bring it. So, Will take the 2 girls and they'll carry the pump and they'll bring it to you.
One will carry the pump, and one will carry him.
Yeah, one will carry Will and one will carry the
One hand and
pump.
a bottle underneath the arm.
Yeah.
Let's go,
An
girls.
umbrella.
Does Will have a cane?
Yeah, I think Will has. He's really
I keep picturing
feeble.
it with
Like
it,
he
but-
is totally feeble. I mean, his strength is a 4 and his endurance is a 3. Like he is.
Holy
like,
shit!
Oh yeah.
His endurance is a 3.
Yeah. Don't you remember that old age
Holy
thing just about killed him?
He's
How
got
old
much
is he?
more
Like
endurance than I-
34, and he was just like, I've hit a wall.
So I think what happens is now that I've been reminded of that, Will takes a couple steps outside. He's like,
Oh, it's
"Oh my
hot.
god!"
Yeah.
He's like, "Girls, would you get me my scarf?"
Yeah,
please?"
exactly. That's what I said. He's got an umbrella and a cane. He's just like,
It's in the box that says
I don't know what
magic
he's
stuff.
doing cleaning this place up. Like, this-
You seriously got like that penalty? Holy crap!
yeah.
So Will is tapping along with this scarf around his thing. The girls are carrying a giant pump and they're struggling with
But
it.
everything he does is like with a flourish, and it is like so dexterous. Like when he puts his scarf on, you're like, you'd think he put a scarf on 10,000 times and practiced the way that he just whips
Yeah.
it around his neck.
That's amazing.
Will also wears a cape everywhere. Will, you can take that
It
off
says
and go in the shower.
The amazing Will Bluth on the.
Okay, and are you coming with him? You said, or
Sure.
Sure. Okay, so we're going along as well.
Keeping an eye
So
on
those
what's
of you,
wrong.
Freddie and Shuji, you guys make your way to the second floor, and the second floor appears to be where all the accommodations are located. So there are all the doors are without power, so you sort of have to force all of them open. Can I just get actually? What are your recon scores?
0.
0. And to be clear, Cork, you mean you've got a 0? You mean it's not that you've got no skills in it?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
His skills in it.
0 skills in it. Okay, so it's
Dash
minus 3 to
or
you. What's your
Dash or 0?
Okay.
Is there
Cork,
a
what is your
zero
intellect modifier?
next to it?
No, no.
Zero.
-3.
I have no skill in it whatsoever.
So you guys are making your way along, and like it's tough. Some of these things are so dirty and so caked over and so disused that the mechanics have either corroded or not working. So it's difficult to get some of the doors open. You check a couple of the rooms, and they do seem like if you really, really, really strain, you can picture that these might be nice at some point. But at this point, it's just heaps of rubbish where the furniture used to stand. The stuff that is made from like plastic or plastic style kind of material, it's still there. But for the most part, this place it has actually there's a lot of detail and stuff on the inside of each room. The Dranaxi as a people or as an empire, and the Sindalan as well too, had a very, like I say, a very Baroque kind of feel to them. To give you an example, actually, I just want to show you what I mean. The inside of one of their starships is the Dranaxi Harrier, and it has a ridiculous amount of excess, kind of accoutrements and stuff like that, and flourishes in its design to the point of also almost being like comical. Take a look, guys. That's what the inside of a typical Dranaxi ship looks like.
That's
Oh,
That
wow.
scroll work is impeccable.
Like
Yeah.
that's what the inside of this lower base is,
There you go.
or not? This
Well,
isn't
that's
a
what-
Dran.
No, but I mean, that's more like this. This is what type of style they go for. They go for
Right.
these really overly ornate.
Right, and this
whatnot.
lower.
The whole place actually
Is built like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow! No
Yeah.
wonder it's going to be a luxury hotel.
Oh yeah, like the Dranaxi really, in a very gaudy kind of way, knew what they were.
So
sort of
as
going
Will
for.
starts getting close to it, he's like, "Oh yes, this will work." He doesn't
Yeah.
see the like rust or the broken
Yeah.
window.
I see
he
not
just
what it
sees-
is, but what it will be.
Yeah, he's like imagining the sign with his name on, over here.
Shit.
it's like well, this
gotta
far away
realize-
from him asking you to name it the Arnett base. Or,
Should you hear
the
all
blue
of this over comms?
Oh, probably, yeah. If you go to open.
As Shuji hears Will talking, he's picturing a smaller and smaller dressing room with every word that Will puts out.
You got to realize that my social standing, although my physical stats are low, is a 13. Like I am socially very well known. Like
Yeah.
I will maybe actually bring people to the planet.
Oh yeah, like he's got cachet.
Like 13 is
He's just a puss, and like a one good shot would,
yeah.
you know.
Don't punch him.
Your socials.
What's that called?
Yeah.
Is Fuji going to name this place now that he's seen it?
I had
Oh yeah.
9 total.
Should you,
benefits from
poor guys, are you going to name this place now
Entertainer.
that you've seen it?
And one of them, 2 of them, I think. +1 social.
Yes.
Hawkins Hideaway.
Need to give it a moment's thought, though.
Okay. So apart from there's some like storage closets and stuff like that on the second floor. Otherwise, it's really just accommodations, and some of those accommodations will have. You maybe go over and you can see there's a there are broken windows looking out, and it's again like you walk up to them, you look out, and you can see there's this like beautiful stoic kind of view of the lake from here. Do you have any kind of visual enhancements?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh, see, I did bring flashlights. Someone did ask me to bring flashlights. I can't remember.
Temporary lighting, yeah.
Yeah, temporary lighting. So I'm thinking it's like the actual like setup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I brought then.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Shinju would have.
You've got the flashlight. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
So you're sort of looking out. It's not that I'm just wondering whether there's a distance. Like I wonder whether you can see the monastery from here. Because it would be it's about 1.5 kilometers away.
yeah, well, Shuji's got a plan for that, so.
Okay. So you're looking out, and you think that you can probably see this squat, almost like a abutment on the far side of the lake, and you're remembering that corny vid that you saw before you flew out here, a week and a half ago, and it seems a lot less comical from this perspective. And the idea of people living here without kind of, again, like if you picture like the bleakest of bleak Scottish weather and climate, that's what this place is like. Overcast, lush and green, but in a very rugged kind of way. It would be difficult to grow anything here to, subsist on. But anyway, so you sort of spare that moment of thought. And then that's it. There's maybe one or two of these doors that you just simply can't get into. And I think you just like, oh, fuck it, I'll check it another time. Because it's going to require tools to like bash the shit open.
We have cutting tools.
You do, and then but you have to collect those things to get back and get into those. And so if there's for the initial sort of survey, I'm picturing that he was going to leave the door rather than let's get tools and cut it open right now. Because some of the doors you were able to initially open. So,
Gotcha.
So you finish the second floor, and that's around the time when you hear from, or we cut back to Jerry. And Jerry, you've managed to work the power source. You can kind of hear the low hum of this, like not fusion, but like high tech battery. And there's cords leading into the computer, and then it's sort of. You're like, okay, I think, and you've managed to rework it, and there's power now going to that computer.
Looks like we've done it. Hey, Anna, let's see, poke around and see what we can find on this computer system.
I don't think it's not the kind of thing that you can search easily. Like here's some of the things that why I say that is, this is not like Star Trek tech, right? Like it's not like you can just suddenly use magic to get into there. This is Star Traveler technology is nitty gritty kind of shit.
Okay, so let me scale that back then. Let's see if we can get lights on in the base.
Well, all you've done is given power to this one computer.
Okay.
You have not powered the whole base.
Okay.
Scope it out.
So what's this computer control? I guess let's figure out what
this is.
Do.
So that you can do. Why don't you give me because of the age of this thing, give me a computer. Are you doing it, or are you getting Anna to do it?
I'll do it.
You'll do it. Okay, so give me a roll, but I'm going to give you one Bane on it because this is it's a very old program.
How does Bane work in this?
Bane, you roll an extra dice, you take the two lowest. That's what your result is.
All right. Can Anna assist me? As like the other characters?
It'll work just like how the task chain works, where I'll make a roll for Anna, and then if she succeeds, it might give you some.
I mean, she'll have the Bane too, though.
No, I will say that she's trying to help you with like translating. Actually, you can't look through that.
I just want to look at the Picastars.
Oh, you can't know because that's all the adventures. This one you can look through, no problem.
Okay.
Just that's the actual campaign, and we're
I
actually
wasn't gonna read it.
No, but there's actually some spoiler
In the pictures?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I'm like, hey, Anna, let's do this.
Okay, so let me roll for Anna. Anna's got
she would have like a 1.
Yeah, she's got a 1 in it. So let's see here.
Might fight that thing. No one or other campaign.
Okay. I was like,
I rolled I slowly revealed to Brent. I rolled 12. She gives you +3 to the roll.
Wow.
nice.
So you say that, and she says absolutely, and she sort of like gestures down and sort of in your field of vision touches the computer, and you can see sort of a pixelation around it. It's not actually happening, but that's how she's displaying it in your eye.
Nice.
There's stuff going around. And she says, "Oh," I sort of like gets chills. Like it's a very unusual coding. Try this, and there's sort of like an algorithm that appears in your view, and you're like, all right, and you slip it down.
Now 4, 5, 6, 8. Does that work?
8 is enough to access the database. Yeah. So this appears to be you got a database that's going to take you a while to sift through. I think
11 because of her. I forgot her.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I did good.
So it's going to take you a while. Like what you've done now is you've accessed the database of information. You managed to take that, and you can extract enough of it so you could search through it at a later time.
Okay.
Okay. So what it appears to be is basically all the existing records from it. But I mean, a lot of that shit's going to be like X ship showed up at whatever date, supplied blah blah blah, was supplied with this, and then departed on whatever date.
Can I run a search for like floor plan, or just like they have like the directions? It's an airport, right? So they'd have sort of like
the thing is
map.
That will take you some time as well too. So I think it'll take at default it's going to take you D6 hours. So you can spend that's going to be just another computer roll with a Bane, or you can spend D6 times 4 hours to run a more comprehensive search for it to locate that information?
Just like I'll just do the regular one with. I'll try the one with the vein.
With the well, both of them are going to come with a Bane. Just one's going to give you a +2 to your roll. One of them's going to give you no.
No, okay, I'll go without the bonus.
Okay, so then that's going to take you. So it'll take you like 2 to 4 hours to process this information.
Yeah, sure.
You got
They're
nothing
just
else?
there.
Yep.
Yeah, unless if someone comes up over the column screaming, I'll do
Yeah.
something else. But I don't really want to drink whiskey.
So let's fair enough. So let's get. Why don't you give give me a computer
I'll work with
check.
Anna on this too, I guess. And
Sure.
computer intellect.
Computer and intellect with Bane. Did you want her to help again?
Yeah, but I think I might have done it because I rolled a 5, 4, and a 2, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13.
5, 4 to 2. So you got the 2 and the 4.
Yeah, 4. Sorry, 6. I did it backwards. I kept the 2 eyes. So 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10 is good enough. Okay, so you're processing through, and we'll get back to what you find.
Okay.
So what are you guys doing? There's another 2 hours that it's going to take. You've heard that Jerry's accessed the database, and he's sort of
I'm
processing
working
it,
on a
trying to find some kind of like blueprint for this place. What are you guys doing, Freddie and Shuji?
I'm going to head back to the ship.
Okay.
If someone has an open bottle of whiskey going, I'm going to go and pour myself a glass.
I think you probably pass Will as he's coming in, and the 2 girls are carrying the big pump with him, and he's walking along with well, you got the cane. Do you have the bottle with you, or are you got like?
No, we left the booze on the.
Okay.
Is this through open comms?
I might have an open drink.
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously, am I the only person doing work here?
I am bringing you a pump, sir. What is with this attitude? We need more teamwork. Maybe if you had that bourbon, you'd be calmer.
I just shake my head.
You can hear Shuji snickering over
So
comms.
Freddie, you pass Will as he's coming in, and he's dressed in the full thing. He's got that flourish of his scarf over his shoulder. He's walking with a showman's grace as he's making his way in. Jim is with him as well too. 2 of the women from
The only 2 women.
Fantasy, the only 2 women from Fantasy are lugging along this giant thing. Are you just heading back to the ship then?
Yeah.
Harry's still back at the ship.
Yeah, I'll go hang out with Harry.
Okay, so you're heading back to the ship. Are you leaving the 2 guys from Fantasy to sort of, do whatever?
Yeah, they'll stay here.
Okay. Shuji, what are you doing during this time?
Over comms, Shuji will give instruction to Will to set the pump up downstairs, or in the basement, I should say. To drain the basement.
Will, do you have any training in electronics?
No, it's me.
Oh, wait, sorry. Will, do you have any training in electronics?
No, but I'm a jack of all trades, my
You
boy.
try? Yes.
This
So good.
pump does not look too complex.
Okay.
Me and the girls shall run it, no problem.
Okay, so give me a. I'm gonna have to take. Yeah, okay, so it'll be 3 hours to set that thing up. Give me a. Let's see here. I don't know. I think it'd be. It's either engineering or mechanics. What do you think?
They're both the same role.
Engineering.
Boost.
Yeah, I think so. Are you trained in what? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it engineering or is it mechanics?
The only part about that matters to me is if it's intellect or not.
Oh yeah, fair enough. It goes.
Engineering.
You think it's engineering? Yeah, I think. Yeah, because you're sort of setting up shit. Okay, so you're trained in engineering, aren't you? No. Okay, so how do you think you would be helping them? How would you make this a task chain?
Holding my drink, running back to the plane to refill it.
Here, son, hold this.
Got a big leaf.
Well, someone's got to you're gonna have to somehow run that pump down into the basement, which will involve like breaking a window or something like that, or opening a window from the inside. You've seen the photos, I think, that Shuji sent you of what the basement looks like, and it's black and full of 4 feet of water.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
it's flooded.
if there are no windows visible from the outside, you'll have to run the bilge line basically out the main floor and like out the
There's
door.
a window there, and Will comes up to it, and he takes his scarf off, and he does a trick, and all of a sudden there's a hole in the window that they put the pipe through.
What your strength's what 4?
Yeah, I didn't do it with my strength, did I?
What? How would you break the window?
He's a
Oh,
magician.
he's got like a
Magic.
glass
It's
cover. He's got a little glass cover.
a secret. It's a secret.
I'll let you do it somehow to open the window, but
It's just for fun. It doesn't really matter. I can say I get the girls to smash it out. It has the same effect.
Yeah,
It's
I
whether
think-
you want to have a funny effect.
I'm just trying to think whether it's physically possible, just because he's so
Frail.
Yeah, if because you would have to like, however, whatever magic flourish goes with it, you're still gonna have to kick your way through this window or smash your way
Or
through
you
the window.
cut it.
He's not a burglar. He wouldn't be walking around with glass.
It's probably transparent.
But you may have a wrist laser, which
Ah. Yeah, I mean, it is high tech. You never know.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, that's fair
You
enough.
might actually have something.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so
You might use it for escape artistry, like to do tricks on
Escapes,
the fly,
yeah.
where like the cops put him in handcuffs and he cuts the little link. Or
sure,
whatever.
yeah, that works for me. So yeah, as you do this flourish, and the women are kind of like, whoa. So let's see here. Why don't you? Because I think you're going to run the lines. Let's say, are you trained in athletics at all? Here, do you have any suggestions on what skill you might be able to use there?
I was hoping mechanics, but no.
I'm trying to think how we would thematically. Well, you know what? The mechanics is physically setting up the machine, I suppose, making sure that the things are all hooked up properly. So sure, give me
Yeah,
that.
nice.
Give me the mechanics check. Let's see. It'll be
Ring
a task
Ring
for a
laser.
action.
Yeah, it's
How much
even
that
a ring.
cost? How much that cost?
1,000 credits.
7.
I got 120,000.
7. Okay. So you're getting -1 to the check.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
There is an actual ring laser even.
Oh yeah, nice. So
Yeah,
that's
so
how you
it's
get
just
it.
like behind the wave of the kerchief, he just cuts a hole with his ring laser and pushes the glass out.
Love it.
What's that?
Okay, so give me a engineering check, please, with intellect.
So it's what you said -1. So it's a flat roll then.
Yeah.
He got a
Yeah,
11.
No problem. So it's set up really well. We see there's water being pumped out of the like as sort of the sun is going down. There's water being pumped out of the basement and
Yeah.
towards the lake.
Shuji really felt like Will was a bit of a joke before. He's increasingly more impressed.
Will has actually brought Gerald down and he's showing him the pump and explaining all the setup that he did and stuff. Like,
Well,
does this
Gerald's-
help for you? Is this help?
Gerald's been working on
The computers.
decompressing thing. You
Oh, I actually finished this.
Jerry, would you mind coming down, please? I have something to show
It's
you.
very important. Very important.
Anna killed the comms again.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what I say. Because you already killed the comms to him anyway. Anna's like, Jerry.
Or maybe not kill the comms completely. Filter the comms. She'll filter them for usefulness.
So she appears. You're picturing yourself, tattering away on a keyboard, trying to get through, trying to sort through this database, and you see she appears and says, Jerry, Will wants to have a conversation.
I was sighing. Has he been indicating about what?
Something to do with placement of a pump.
All right, patch him through.
Jerry, are you? And it comes
Yeah.
through like mid, conversation.
Yeah.
Come down. I've got something quite fascinating to show you.
Yeah.
Is it close?
It is, but it will take you away from your task.
I'm in the middle of trying to get us a map here. Can I wait? How far into my
Sure, you
task
may
am I?
check out my wonderful progress whenever you're done. I'll be back on the Maru having a bourbon.
All right.
Anna says, Jerry, your heart rate is at a dangerously elevated state. Freddie has made her way back to the Maru. You walk on board and you see Harry is still in the common area. What have you been doing? Like it's probably like an hour or so. Did you retire back to your quarters, or are you still hanging out in the common room?
I'm hanging out in the common room. I'm kind of observing the
Don't you have to rest specifically?
fantasy people.
Yeah, they're quite the thing to look at.
Most
They're
of them
sort
are
of
busy.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is they're sort of They're probably all down in the cargo hold, sort of getting stuff ready to disembark. They like they're not,
But they
stupid
behave,
necessarily.
they behave like normal people.
Oh yeah, like
Just-
they're not. They're just incredibly compliant. They just are eager to please.
They work for less.
They work for less, yeah.
Do we know if they've got any skills other than sex bots?
Rudimentary mechanic skills at best.
Okay?
Like, the
I
thing is-
wasn't too certain exactly why they're here, other than like be subverted kind of thing, or
But I wouldn't take sex
Here,
spots.
we'll go over the comms.
They
Are
sort
you
of
in
all
need
put
of
his hand in
pleasure?
and stuff like that. And there's gonna be need. Like there's a lot of grunt work. As much as you've got high tech shit and whatever, it's easier to get these guys in here than it is to supply you guys with $5,000. Just because you've got access to higher technology doesn't mean that's the way they're gonna go. Because
Yep.
it's cheaper to have these guys come over.
Yeah, I just didn't know if maybe they had higher skills other than.
No, not really. Okay.
So later in the evening, Will is actually talking to Suji, and he's like, "We have to negotiate to keep these fantasy folk. They would be
I can work in the hotel.
yes, they would be very valuable around here. We should negotiate with who is it?
GDCO.
With Judico, with keeping
GDCO. General Development
GDCO.
Corporation.
at least these two," and he indicates to the two women.
And they sort of nod to you like, yes.
We'll talk about that later, Will.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay, so Freddie and Harry are back at the you're sort of still studying these people and watching one of them. Like there's a couple of them who are eating.
I'm drinking and I'm trying to recuperate. I do want to heal up before I try to start helping out.
So you see Freddie walk back. Freddie, you walk into the common room and you see Harry sitting there too, and he's still looking pretty shitty, but he's got a drink in front of him and a bottle.
I'll grab a glass and sit down across from him.
Okay. She's just down across from you. She's a little slip of a thing, and she's wearing this full like sort of combat armor right
Well,
now.
I'll go change first.
He's a magician's assistant. Presto. So you're back and you sit down with him. What do you say?
I'm just gonna say, what happened to you before you said you were attacked?
I didn't say I was attacked. I don't know. It just
Your brother is overprotective.
yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna get him up to speed on everything that we saw in there.
So you're a magician's assistant?
That's one of the things I do.
Well, that's one of your things. And what other things do you do?
Well, have you seen my gear?
Did you actually walk up in the combat gear before? Did you go and get changed? Then what are you wearing now?
So we have to pass.
I'm
you.
wearing the magician's assistant outfit.
Why are you wearing this gaudy?
Well, maybe she's got like regular clothes that she wears, you know, like space pants and a tank top.
Space pants.
What are space?
They're like pants, but they're shiny or something. Who knows?
Foil pants. Corey just described foil pants.
Some phrase I'm picturing like MC Hammer pants and a tank top.
That's it. Yeah.
Space pants. I love it. All right, so she comes in comfortable clothing, and this is when you guys are talking. Yeah.
Why would you be a magician assistant if you've got like military skills?
Well, I've been on my own since I was 14 years old, and I was recruited by a band of pirates, and I ran with them for a while, and then I got into this music thing, and yeah, that led me to be a magician's assistant. You got to get a break somewhere.
Do you enjoy it?
A joint?
I said, do you enjoy it?
Oh, it's all right for now.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Were you always
A prick? Yes.
okay? That's
Okay. We'll come back to Jerry. And Jerry, you're actually finished with your with the thing, and there is a blueprint it appears to you've identified what appears to be an early blueprint of the entire base.
I go woo and jackpot, you guys.
Okay.
I'm gonna send this. I'm sending blueprints of this place to your comms.
You guys all have now full blueprints of the entire base.
About 6 minutes later, you get a new blueprint with like the auditorium marked out where Will is putting the space up for the show.
Only
big
6 minutes.
Yeah, he was ready. He was waiting for the blueprint.
You know what I mean?
Stage
the,
here.
the computers are advanced enough too. I think you guys it would do a full render as well too. So you can sort of picture that, like when you see this thing either on your comm units or in your cyber eyes, you could see a full 3D render of what this place was like at its peak. And it is quite grand. Like it's a really, it would have been an amazing looking place. Crazy, great colors outside, big gardens for where you would land. Like it was really quite the resort.
Okay, based on what Shuji has seen so far, is there anywhere on the map that has not been reflected in his actual physical, go over of the building?
What is your recon? Is a
No, that's -3.
it's okay. Let's just okay. So let me. To be honest, like you're looking and you're trying to remember how many. Like, did I hit? Was it 5 doors or 4 doors upstairs? Is it? You really. It's tough to tell. Like you suspect that if someone had more methodical experience with it, or if you went along with it superimposed, as you were walking along like a Google Maps kind of thing, you may be able to determine whether or not it corresponds with it. But at this point, the sun is absolutely going down, so it's going to be nighttime here. Do you guys want to continue doing whatever work you want to do in the port HQ before throughout the night, or are you guys going to go and get a good night's sleep?
I'm gonna get a good night's sleep. I'll check the pump before I go back because I was told to go check the pump. So
Okay, so you go walk over to the pump, and it is indeed a pump, and it is indeed working, but you're not sure what
What the big deal was.
Yeah, did you want to contact Will and ask him to?
yeah. Hey, it looks like you did a good job. The pump's working.
Great, thank you.
You immediately regret.
Comms out.
I'm thinking, fucker, I don't say it. I'm like, I just looked here to see. Like, I went down to see. Well,
I missed what happened.
Oh, Jerry went to go and inspect the pump, and then he messaged Will and said, "Oh, it looks like you did a good job." And
Immediately, it's just like, oh, thank you very much.
Basically, cut him off, interrupted, and took all the accolades.
No, no reason for me to really go there. I thought there was needed something with the pump or.
Yeah, you're sort of, you hear him talking in your ear, and from where you're placed, I think the sun is probably setting off in sort of like to your right. So it's casting very, very long shadows, and the lake looks like it's got sinister hills that are kind of clustered around the shoreline. It's,
Oh yeah, I'll go into the comms. Well, this place looks creepy. I'm coming back for that drink. I've done enough work for one day.
And I suggest we seal up the ship, so at least we're secure within the ship.
Oh, there's an idea for people who weren't worried about anything else being here, but I wholeheartedly agree.
Familial strife. Okay, so you make your way back. I think you're probably the last one to get back then, because Shuji and Freddy's already been back. Shuji, when did you go back? Or you?
Shushi's actually still there. The last thing he wanted to do before he left for back on
Look
the
at
ship
20 people
was actually try to get to roof level.
Okay, yeah, you can. Yeah, I think you can do that. So you make your way to the after some effort. Is it you and a couple of the two guys from Fantasy?
Yeah, that's
okay. So go with them. So you make your way there, and you find your way to get to the roof level. You make your way to the, it's sort of a climb access to it. You climb your way up. It takes you a little bit of effort to get the roof unstuck, and you finally get yourself up there. And once you get up, like there's sort of I think, I'm trying to think picture here. I don't think there's like there's probably on the second floor near where the rooms are. There's one area that has like a terrace that you could be on, but the roof itself is otherwise just like a. This is where like the. Oh, you know, there was once a garden up here. Drainaxian would be it, and I'm trying to picture what they would want people to see as they're landing. So there is a bunch of like empty planters or overgrown kind of planters up here, and in the waning light, you can hear the rustling of these of the reeds and then whatever else and brush that's overgrown in here, and you do a sort of walk around on the roof. And you're looking out, and like, this is a bleak fucking planet. At least at this time of night, it looks, you know.
So there's nothing that he can see looking out, like doing a 360 from the roof.
Sure. So you get out and you get to the edge of the roof, and you sort of are looking. You can see the Maru that's landed, you know, at the far end of the thing. Like I said, about 3 football fields worth of space away. On the there to your right, looking towards the where the Maru has landed. On the right side, there is there's what was the remnants of like a gate post for people coming in and out of the starport. There is a building that that looks like there was some other purpose that it had to it. It's only 1 story. It's a kind of a roughly a square shaped, like almost perfect square, and then. You sort of double blink. There's a face in that building.
What do you mean?
And it's a huge distance away, right? Like you're 3 stories up. It's probably about half a football field away from you. But you can see in the reflected light that's coming down, past the dirty pane, there's someone's face who's looking out of that window. It's really far away, so you can't quite make out distinction, but it's a fucking face.
He's
He's a cutout of John Stamos.
Your guy mentioned there was the bear-like creatures that were sleek like panthers, whatever. And they had white faces.
What do they look like? Give me a description.
Wow, it's football
The
field away.
Strocks. A
Yeah.
Strock looks like it's imagine like a bear-sized sort of like bear mixed with panther. You know, bear stockiness with
Yeah.
a longer, lean body, and then the purple fur feather kind of stuff all throughout the body with a white design on its face.
And is that what the face looks like?
No, it's a human face.
So this is still broadcasting, right? Like, I mean, I still have an open broadcast to everybody.
You do, but this would imagine like what this would be like. You're looking down and focusing on it too, but they would just have a wide open screen, right? They're seeing sort of this. Do you say anything?
Yeah, I'll be like, hey guys, take a look at this, and I'll zoom I'll zoom in on the windows closely as I can get in.
How are you zooming in?
Is there any way that I can get onto the top of our ship and with a sniper rifle and be able to see the same vantage point?
You guys are in. So I'm picturing. Let's just establish where everyone is right now while this is happening. I think that Jerry just got back into the common room where you and Harry are hanging out.
Yeah.
Will and Jim, where are you guys right now? You think were you gone back with Jim or what?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jim and Will are back, and sort of. I think maybe you're all sitting around in the lounge, and then you say this like, "Hey guys, check this out."
What's the comms? Like you say, is it just an earpiece or?
No, it's like a smartphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you, what do you call it? You guys can all like hit this thing, and it opens up, and what he's displaying for you is a picture of this, building that I described. The sort of like 1-story building with this. There's a broken window on one window, and then there's another window, and he seems to be zooming in on this one window, but like it's a window. What are you looking at?
We don't see anything.
You don't see anything.
Looks like a
You
window.
can see this. You zoomed right in, and you can see, and it's smudged, and it's difficult so because behind sort of a dirty pane. It is a Caucasian woman who's looking out, dark shadows under her eyes, seems to be staring out.
But we don't see it.
No, he doesn't see it, but you see it zoomed in, and then what you see is the face slowly turns and is looking directly at you. No expression on his face whatsoever. shrouded in shadow. You can't see the rest of her body. So you guys are all looking at this. What do you say?
I can't see anything
kind
on
of
your,
creepy
on your
up there.
sensors on your. I can't see anything on your screen. It looks like an open window.
There's in fact a woman's face in that window,
I
and
assure you, I can't see anything.
I'm pretty sure we've just been made.
The woman slowly begins backing away into the shadow.
Anna, could you interface with the ship's computer, see if there's any biologicals nearby coming from the building?
You can't, again, like, it's not fucking Star Trek. You need to go and run those things. It's a separate system. You can go and run a sensors check if you want. But
Okay.
yeah. It's sorry, it's just I want to make it clear, but like it's not that level. If you want to run a sensors check, you need to go and interface with it. It's not like
She can do it. Okay.
No.
So when I guess, so for like agent, that would be just like computer checks.
Agent will be computer checks, yeah. But again, like I just don't think like everything is wirelessly interfaced.
Oh, okay.
Because think of the security threat that would come, right? The threat that comes with that is just that if you hop in and someone sends their agent in to completely fuck over your computer systems.
Okay. So I don't see anything, but when I'm done pouring myself a bourbon, I will walk over to the sensors and take a
Well, let's
scan.
see what Shuji does first. So this woman continues backing away until her face is lost in the shadow.
And how far is this building from the Maroon?
It is about let me think here. It's 1.5. It's about maybe 50 yards away from the nearest edge. It's getting darker though. The sun has almost completely disappeared at this point.
Place is haunted.
Well, at this point, he's gonna come down from the roof. Make a last quick check on the basement to see how much water's been drained out of it.
It's going to take quite a while for that to.
Oh, okay. So but it's still in process. Like there's nothing additional in the basement that he can see with whatever water's been
not
pumped
at
out.
this point. No.
Okay.
So it's full on night by the time you get down there. Brent, you get to the sensor thing, and it looks like Shuji's already kind of moved on. By the time you get there, did you want us to ask anything of him, or?
Then I'll just run through this. I'll run the sensor check anyway. I'll just be prudent. And we're on a planet. Things didn't go well. I still suspicious about how things spontaneously all went bad.
Remember, guys, that you do have some. You haven't installed them yet, but you have been supplied. Judico did supply you with some extremely advanced sensors.
Oh, I wasn't. Those would require technical expertise to install.
That and power. Like you'll need to run power to the actual complex.
Okay, so that would be.
What you need to do to get that is you'll need to fix the generators in the basement, because it's got to be more than just the little portable things that you.
But we can't run the generators without pumping up the water.
So pump water, fix generators, catch sensors.
But we can run the sensors technically off of the ship's power. But we can set them up.
It would be a lot of work. Like you have to, and also I mean that the ship would be inoperable then.
It's inoperable anyways. We got a piece missing.
Well,
We can't fly
It can't fly. It doesn't mean where it's inoperable.
Yeah, like the
heat's working while like heat light.
it's doable. Like he's certainly skilled enough to be able to do something like that. But what it would mean is that it's like a lot of hours of work, and then it's and those are working, not the rest of the ship.
Right, and it's also not the end game. If I'm gonna have to spend a bunch of time setting shit up, we might as well get the power from the
Yeah, so you
building.
can get it running. Okay, so let's have you walk back. So, are you heading back to the Maru now? You've checked to see where the water's going down. The water appears to be going down.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it's not really noticeable, but I mean, it's one of those things that just going to take. This is a massive basement that may be filling the entire, run the entire length of the entire HQ. So it could take quite a while for that thing to
We'll check it in the
sort itself
morning.
out.
Yeah.
You can hear the choo 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 as it's pumping.
Yeah. You know what? Shuji has a mind to kind of send the fantasy guys in there just to do a quick sweep, but
Of what?
the face that he saw. I mean, there's obviously we're not alone. Like there is at least one person 50 feet away from us.
Okay. Well,
This was
when I'm done with
inside the
sensor
port?
scan, I'll
Yeah.
tell him.
Give me a
Yeah, like it's
what would be
there's
electronic
an
sensors, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll right beside.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so give me electronic
essentially.
sensors check,
Oh,
please.
okay.
So
And let's see here. It'll take only
Which attribute?
it'll be intellect as well, I think.
6.
A 6. Okay. You certainly cannot detect any. What you're running for is not biological signs, because that would just be
Like heat, body
everything.
heat, I guess.
Well, again, like I think what you're running a sense for is like any human-sized organisms.
Yeah.
Because right. So from what you can, this is not your expertise. I don't think. You're not picking up anything apart from you can see Shuji and the 4 guys from Fantasy are sort of still in the HQ.
Okay, I'll be like, I tried to look for anything bigger than a dog, and I see nothing. Is that about very accurate?
Yeah.
I'm getting nothing. They might just be seeing shadows. It's all that bourbon you've been drinking all day.
He wasn't drinking any bourbon.
I've had no bourbon, Jerry.
Sorry,
Do you need some bourbon, Suji?
I'd be very careful, gentlemen. I am very certain that we're not alone.
It's just strange that whatever
I
you saw, we
feel
did not see on the colony.
The sense of
comms.
deja vu, like someone might have helped us way earlier.
Is there any technology that would mask someone from being videotaped but see them in real life?
Absolutely, yeah. Certainly.
Technology cloaking?
Sorry.
Have I heard of any kind of technology like that, cloaking or something?
I think that like knowing how advanced that like TL16 or higher can get, it's possible. Whether it's likely in a place like this in the middle of nowhere is quite low.
Yeah.
But yeah. And to be clear, there's no like magic or fantasy shit or monsters or any stuff like that in the Traveler universe. This is not a universe that's got like fantasy stuff or Cthulhu stuff or anything like that. So this would not make it would be as whatever's going on is as bizarre as if it was happening in our real world.
Okay.
It's a ghost. That's real.
I'm not currently performing any tricks in the outbuilding.
So what are you doing, Shuji? Are you?
Shuji will go back to the ship.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that we made it here and we found the place and everything looks good and promising.
Yeah.
We should get drunk tonight.
Okay. So as you're making your way back, it's dark.
There's 22
The-
of them back there.
2 or 4 guys that you have with you are not particularly chatty necessarily. So you're walking along and you hear the gravel and dirt and whatnot as you're making your way along, and you try not to fix your eyes on that building, but you're just like razor focused on it as you go by, and your stomach is just filled with knots as you walk by. And I think that you probably do that sort of unintentional wide arc away from that thing. And as soon as you get by, you sort of break into a little bit of a trot and then stop yourself because you feel like you're maybe being silly, but you do spare 1 or 2 glances back at the building as you're finally making your approach towards the Maru. I'm going to throw out there that maybe you guys set up some of that exterior lighting around the Maru as well. And just so you had like a 1 or 2 places, at least near the entrance.
The ship itself would probably have some lights around.
Yeah, probably
the
there's
base
floods on
as
it.
well,
Yeah. So maybe that's what it is. There's floods that are activated, and you make your way up towards it. And as you get closer, it doesn't feel like a welcoming sort of thing. It's just the lights of the Maru feel cold and harsh, and you can't help but quicken your step a little bit as you race back inside it and feel, like you would want to slam the airlock behind you. The other 4 guys come trotting in behind, and then the airlock seals shut, and you walk your way into the common room where you find everybody waiting for you.
I put on some tunes.
I get up, grab
I'm
it.
just kind of drinking. I'm just kind of drinking kind of heavily.
Yeah.
And like dancing around listening to music.
Who's
Yeah.
skilled in censorship?
I pick up an empty glass and bring the bottle over and pour him a drink.
I don't think you need to make it a thing. There's a Dave. Is it fair to say that Shuji has got he's scared at this point?
He's definitely rattled. He's as he goes to accept Harry's glass. Harry notices that his hand is visibly trembling.
What did you see out there?
I told you what I saw.
Describe it.
It was a woman's face, Caucasian, darkened circles under her eyes. She was looking at first away out the window, but not directly at me. And then she looked right at me. And then she disappeared into the blackness of the room behind her.
Because this is he's thinking about this right now. We read surface thoughts on him to see what he saw.
Absolutely.
Did she look really sneaky? Could she have hit Harold on the head and then hidden in the building?
Well, considering, well,
Sorry, I missed what it was. I was
9.
9. Was that good enough to?
It's good. It's good enough.
Yeah. Like, what's your effect? Is it? Or
Well, it says the effects of the check determine the clarity of the.
What's I'm saying? What's the difficulty?
8.
Okay, so you succeed by 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're hit by a wave, and it's almost like relieving knowing that you're able to engage those senses again, and you're not. It's
Being
not that
blocked
horrible raw, connection. But yeah, he's fucking terrified. I mean, to be honest, his mind is going back to that same image, and you're seeing now that same image that he saw, where it's that woman with a face zoomed in with a little bit of graininess, and she's looking directly up at
I'm
him,
looking at his memory.
and you
Right,
can
yeah.
feel she's looking at you. Those eye contact, those eyes are locked in that memory, and as soon as you break off contact, you can't shake that fucking image. And you see him; he's already looking pretty rattled. He steps back, and he loses more of the color from his face.
What I noticed, my brothers.
I don't know, because like the rest, Freddie's got this music playing in the background. I think Jim is probably chilling out, right? Will is doing Will's thing with the 2 girls.
Maybe he's doing some tricks,
When-
actually.
When he's done,
Scarfing
or
around.
just
Tricks.
somewhere
Yeah.
during the night, I'll come over, elbow him, and just sort of. I want to chat with when no one's paying attention to
Yeah.
us.
Will's probably one of the first ones. It may be actually Shuji who goes to bed first.
really.
What do you think?
No, you're gonna sit up and
Well, actually, Shuji figures
I
like
think something.
enough of this shit.
something's
We've all
going
been
down.
weirded out enough. So he actually goes into the kind of a back room
No, this
or
is
the
after.
a holding area,
Yeah.
and he sets up a
Coming
little
up to
surprise.
you.
well, the hold is downstairs, right? So it's
Go ahead.
in the first floor. So you can go down to the cargo hold if you want and do whatever you're trying to do.
Well,
Sure.
something hit you.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's empty
Alright.
berths. I'm looking at the floor plans for the what do you call it, for the Fat Trader, and there's the cargo hold it's full of shit right now. But you could go down there, or there's empty berths. Like, you've got way more berths than what you guys have passengers right now. So you could go down to one of the empty berths if you want.
he's looking for more of a bit of an open space. So whatever works,
So
either
not
in the cargo
necessarily-
hold.
Probably the cargo hold, yeah.
He clears it out, makes it look really nice.
Yeah.
And
Has a picnic?
He brought something.
yeah, actually, kind of.
Centurion robot.
Hey guys.
I've got the orbital gun.
How heavy is that thing?
It's
Do you see anything real?
what does he set up? I love it. Shite.
And not he just thought he saw something, but he actually saw something. I did a census week. There's nothing else.
So he goes to work setting up the auto bar, the auto chef, the high fidelity music system, the holographic play table.
Keep your mind off the creepy woman.
Yeah.
I brought a game.
No, I left the sleep inducer for that. Don't worry. The miniature's working.
So you are going to indulge in for your action to nest.
Well, to take
And you come downstairs and you see in the middle of the cargo hold, he set up this whole elaborate living area.
well, and it's for everybody. Like it was a surprise for once he's finished setting everything up, Shuji goes up and he's like, "Look, I know we've had a really difficult time, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of this adventure, and in order to say thanks, I have this for you."
Is everybody sitting up, like having Freddie's trying to lead a celebration for like, we're fucking here, guys, kind of thing.
Yeah, I've got in the background. I've got blasting. What is it?
Celebrate the time. Come on.
Get down tonight. Get down tonight.
Bee Gees.
Do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight.
So he's trying to turn into a
Is
party.
no one- is no one gonna
If
drink-
on board? That means all the fantasy people are on board. as
Oh
well.
yeah, absolutely.
Is
So
no
then
one gonna-
we're
is no one
here.
gonna
Well, this
drink
is-
or what?
Yeah, so you got you and Will and all the people from fantasy are all whooping it up. You're having a full-on fucking party.
Nice.
What is
And
Jim
you
up to?
can probably hear it over the loudspeakers of the ship outside.
Nice.
If I find out that it's broadcasting loud outside the ship, I'll be somewhat pissed.
I
Are you
Probably won't
going
notice
outside?
it, but I know because I won't go outside.
no. But
But
I'm
if someone told me, I'd be like, turn it off outside.
I'm trying to think here. I don't know how you would come across that.
No, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. And I kind of like the idea of this, like the ship with a little bit of lights coming out of it from a long shot, with otherwise blackness around, and this creepy echo to the music as
You could totally see that in a science fiction movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Right before shit goes down, they're just relaxed and caught off guard.
Yeah, and that's when some blackened shadow will raise up in the foreground and then disappear.
Yeah, where you sit there and say, "Why would they do that? It's so stupid. Why would they do that?"
And in fact, there's a point if the libations go on long enough where Will and Freddie take everyone outside, and they got a little fireworks show that they brought with them that they light off, like just a few fireworks.
Sure, yeah,
Just
yeah.
like, like a couple of.
Okay. How long does Harry last?
What do you mean, how is it?
Like,
At
does
this
he
party.
stay? Does he stay? This whole party's going on. It's going to go on for until his thing's ready. I'm just wondering whether you're still awake in the time that he's, because it'll take him a couple hours to get this shit set up.
Well, the shit's not really that big. Like the auto chef's only like.
It's a matter of locating it on the.
Okay.
You would have had some control over if that's what
The
you had planned
packing,
from the
yeah.
get-go. You would have made sure that shit was on top, right? So okay, so maybe it's only an hour or two to set.
If the ship is secure, what time is it?
Local time is probably like 8 o'clock or so. And well, by the time he's finished up, probably like 9:30 or so.
Okay, I'm probably calling it an early night.
Okay.
I will probably there's probably a few hours before I go to bed, so I'll have some food, and then I'll go back and run some diagnostics on the system and ship again for an hour or two before I go to bed, just trying to figure out what the fuck happened.
Sure. Yeah. So you and you're up in the cockpit. There's those two like stations there, and then there's the actual cockpit itself. So
Pulling out security, not security, but circuit boards and fiddling around.
Okay. So you're sitting at the circuit boards and you're pulling them out to make sure like what the hell's wrong here. Give me a electronics comms, I think, or sensors. Oh no, actually that'll be mechanics, wouldn't it? Mechanics is the thing for repairing, I think.
Probably, yeah.
So are you trained in mechanics?
I am. That's
Awesome.
where I got the 3
Oh sweet. What's the 3 in?
mechanics.
What kind of mechanics?
There's just one mechanics.
Oh, there's only one. Fucking nice one.
About every,
Yeah. Give me a mechanics check, please, with intellect. Intellect, I think. Yeah.
About every half hour, one of the fantasy people comes up to you with a drink and says, "Will says to take a break. Do this in the morning."
We're doing the pump in the morning.
I'm just saying that's what's happening. They keep bringing you
16.
drinks.
16. Fucking
Nice.
yes.
I rolled 11. So
Oh, nice. Okay, so you are working away. You are absolutely certain there is nothing wrong with these sensors. I mean, the Fat Trader has the sensors are civilian grade, which means that they're really not. This is not like hyper focused kind of stuff. You can see it's got DM -2 on the actual thing. So, I mean, it's not like these things are electron microscopes.
It's working as intended.
Yeah, like there's nothing. You don't know what the hell's going on. And I see from the first off, I fucking love that you guys just role played with each other. The brothers' conversation. That's amazing. You're just like, we don't need to do it for you guys. We're gonna do it in character. That's fucking awesome. It sounds like from what I overheard that he told you that he did see what he saw, and you're adamant that like, look, well, what the hell's wrong with these?
Yeah, I basically
Sure.
started coming up to him and going, "Is there a real threat out there?"
Yeah,
I still think it's weird because what happened, the way that Drive went and we spun out, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm still fiddling around trying to figure out what the hell went on.
But see, you also do know there's a real threat because you know your brother was psychically attacked. Our characters don't know
Well,
that, but
we
you
still
would
don't.
know.
Hold on, but thing is we still don't know if he was psychically attacked. That's
Or
The way
just
Kevin
overwhelmed.
described it is
The
the
way-
sensation to you was like an attack.
no, it wasn't necessarily an attack, or possibly just being overwhelmed by whatever it is
Right.
that I was sensing. So it wasn't necessarily an attack. It'd be like staring at the sun, maybe
Right.
burning out your eyes. That's not an attack. The sun's not attacking me.
No, but it's a psychic force.
But
You
again,
know there's a
it's
psychic
not-
force
know
on
that
the
thing.
planet that's...
Okay, guys. So, Shuji has set up this massive area. You brought everybody down, and again, sort of one of the fantasy people comes in to grab Jerry, and he says like, "Oh, come down." And again, he's still working on this thing. He's like, "I'll be down in a second." So the rest of the crew, so Freddie and the people from fantasy, and you guys all head downstairs. You're about to go to bed when he drags you down. And what's the dramatic reveal that you give for all this stuff?
Shuji basically pulls back a curtain that he had put up specifically to like hide all this.
Did he borrow Will's curtain?
Pretty much.
That's my curtain.
And as he pulls it back, it's basically you see the auto bar all set up, the auto chef, like kind of steam rising around it. It's percolating and doing its food thing, waiting for its first its first order. Shuji has unplugged Freddie's music and has plugged it directly into the high fidelity music system. And there's a home theater that's been set up. So it really is like the best man cave that y'all have probably seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
Is this on the ship or is this in the building?
Yeah, it's in the hold.
In the ship, in the cargo
Yeah,
hold.
it's on the ship.
Oh, sweet.
And Shuji says, so here it is. Thank you to all of you.
Jerry, you're this all happens downstairs. What do you guys? What's the reaction for the group? Everyone's all liquored up and partied up and whatnot. What's sort of the reaction here, guys?
I'm super impressed.
Super, but
Well, no, you're not there yet.
Super impressed.
Yeah,
Okay.
super. It's good to see that you know how to throw a good time.
You get some very big hugs from the guys
Yeah.
from fantasy, and they're kind of
They're like- giving you the big bro hugs now.
So we
yeah.
see all this happening downstairs, and then we cut back to upstairs, and Jerry, you're sort of like on your back and scooched in, trying to get the glass of the panels back in for the sensor. So you're sort of like get something in place, and woo woo woo, woo 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 woo, and something rattles next to you. You're flat on your back, and you look down. You think maybe you dropped one of the screws or something like that. It's a Imperial Navy name tag. You grab the thing, and it's discolored in the corner, probably from like some kind of scorching. And you rub it. The name on it is D'Argento. D'Argento
Vic D'Argento.
was Steve's character's name. That's one of the guys who died in that accident that you were blamed for. And you hear someone has just walked up and is standing just out of eyesight from where you are, and you're underneath the panel. What do you do?
slowly reach down, hand goes to the holster.
Okay.
Laser pistol out. I
Okay.
realized the Gauss pistol was TL-13, so I swapped it for
Okay, sure.
laser.
So you pull your laser pistol out.
And then like slide out with my like pistol out.
You slide out, and standing there is the scorched and horrific ruin of Vic D'Argento. His whole face and body, a mass of red, raw burns, as if he had just stepped out of a fusion fire. His uniform scorched and destroyed. The only thing that is not tarnished is his eyes, wild and green, looking down at you, judging, silent. And guys, that's where we're going to take our break for dinner. So, for those listening at home, we do need to make a quick break for dinner. We will be back again in about an hour and a half or so to conclude the gaming marathon and discover the secrets of Sync. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again soon.